All right, guys. Second time is the charm. Welcome back to the Rockford Ordinance and our Tuesday edition of Coffee and Kalashnikovs. I am glad you're here. I was in a really good mood. Now it's all shot to shit. Um, no, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. There we go. I just got a notification of the new stream. Uh, this time, I'm sure everybody got a huge hour and a half, 2 hours, and there we go and fuck it up. So, oh well, what are we gonna do? Anywho, is anybody commenting here? Let's see what's going on. Live chat. There we go. Joe, I get grumpy too. No worries. It's just when everything's going good, it never fails, right? Something's got to screw up. Anyhow, hey, it's for once lots of good news in the firearm sphere of things. California. That's California, very sick California, California, or better known as Illinois. Matter of fact, one just commented there. Feel so sorry for him. Yeah, we got a reprieve in the assault weapon and magazine ban down in Illinois. They got a temporary restraining order to hold them back from enforcing their communist bans on everything. And to top it off, there's another case going on that can have huge ramifications for all of these assault weapon bans, magazine bans on the state level and city level, local level, whatever. And it's also happening in Illinois. It's happening in a town called Naperville. And Naperville, for those of you that don't live down there, is a suburb of Chicago, sort of west, a little south. And it's a pretty well-to-do town. Not as well-to-do as the people living there like to believe. They I don't know. I can't speak about everybody, but you know how it goes. Little nose in the air kind of thing. In the automotive business, a ton of the factory reps live there. All the finance reps, let's say from GMAC, all the captive finance sources, all the sales reps, service reps, all that. And they just believe it to be the greatest place since the North Pole, full of happy and wondrous things. And they have their house walks and their Christmas things and all that. So it's perfectly plausible that the folks living there would present one of these bands, right? It's right up their alley of things to do and, show their social worthiness and all that good stuff. And again, not all of them. I know a lot of good people, both outside and in the automobile field, that live there that are good people. But the town in general, I would not live there. Again, there's a lot better places around Chicago to live. Stick to the North Shore, though they have their problems too. Like Highland Park. There's a place you want to steer clear of. Anyhow, Naperville was or had proposed an assault weapon and magazine ban. And they tried for a temporary restraining order, did not get it. It went to the appellate court. They didn't give it to them there. So they did an emergency order to get it to the Supreme Court to get a ban. And it looks like they've accepted it. So if the Supreme Court can directly put a restraining order to stop any action on the implementation of the assault weapon ban and magazine ban, if they so choose. So what's the big deal on that? Well, if they choose to do that, that's coming direct from the United States Supreme Court, boys and girls. And that'd be a pretty big statement, wouldn't it? That would put all these towns, states that want to defy Bruin and put them on notice that, hey, here's the deal, Jack. And the Supreme Court says so. Will they follow it like they followed all these, the other, or followed the Bruin case so well with all these other bans? Well, they ignored it. They frankly out and out ignored it because why? They know the time involved to fight it, to move through the courts, to get it all the way to the Supreme Court, to see if the Supreme Court will take it. They know that puts 10, 15, 20 years where all these things can affect the citizenry that want these weapons. Their ability to protect themselves is essentially stalled indefinitely. And that's a horrible thing, because a right delayed is a right what? Taken, right? So this could be an absolutely huge case for everything. Meanwhile, Illinois residents are enjoying their freedom once again, albeit same thing. It's only good until this case comes to fruition. It'll go to an appellate court, I'm sure. They will put a stay on the temporary restraining order, and we'll see. But in the meantime, enjoy the freedom. Get out there and blast away. I'm pretty sure, too, with this bump stock thing, we are going to get the arm brace issue taken care of, or at least a restraining order on that. And things are looking up. While Michigan is planning to get rid of just about everything, and Washington and God knows how many others, it's not going to fly. So everybody just keep your fingers crossed. Looks like things are working in the right direction. I may even take a day and head down south, see some friends, and enjoy a little of their refound freedom or semi-freedom. That's still a super restrictive state, guys. I don't know why when they're fighting this. Maybe you guys, because I don't pay attention to the goings on there as much, and I'm not talking to people down there about what's going on since I've come up north. But maybe I don't know why they haven't included the FOID card in these cases. It's been ruled unconstitutional at least a couple times that I know of, and nothing's come of it. But they, in my opinion, they need to somehow include it, roll it in, maybe another case, but get that gone. That's a killer for you guys. There's no reason the state needs another hoop to jump through. It does nothing that the federal laws don't do, other than tax you, although they can't call it a tax anymore, but it is. That's what it is. Yeah, why have it? Why not include it? That is the biggest pain in the butt. You've got other things going away, like the list in California, the roster. So people in California can, hey, buy a modern pistol, right? I'll say that. So the 10-day waiting period is going away, all that good stuff. Like many of you, I live in a state where the waiting periods just don't exist. I mean, and why should they? They don't do anything to stop crime. You know what? Yeah, boy, I'm really upset and angry. Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. Really? Somebody's going to run and, I mean, come on. Anger is one of those things that is immediate, instantaneous, right? And tends to cool down. So even the act of thinking, I don't have the item I need to complete this lack of anger management session. So hold on a moment while I take the few hours to run down to the local purveyor of said items and grab one, and I'll be right back, and I'll be just as pissed. It just doesn't happen, right? I walk in my local shop here, and I can walk out same day. Boom, done. Pistol, whatever, shotgun, rifle, you name it. Walk in, walk out. Now, unfortunately for this young man, or old man, or middle-aged man, or whatever you want to call me, that is not always the case. So it really didn't change anything when I moved up here, because I was used to the waiting period in Illinois. And when I came up here, I was like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. And a couple times, yeah, everything was fine. But 99% of the time, I get delayed, anywhere from a day to, well, I had one go on forever. It went past the 30 days and never got an answer and had to reapply and all that crap. But usually I make sure that I know the gun dealer's policy. And you guys should too. Whether or not there's a waiting period, you should know that what your gun dealer's policy is as far as delivering the firearm based off the background check. So let's say they call it into the NICS system and it says under review, or there's a couple things, and I believe one's under review. There's also always denied, and there's proceed. But if it's under review, I think there's two levels of that: under review and waiting more information or something. You should know what your policy, your gun dealer's policy is on that. A lot of dealers on the third business day, by law, they can deliver the weapon to you, regardless of if they've heard back on the background check or not. Some stores, mostly big box stores, but even some smaller local gun shops, will say, nope, we are not going to deliver that firearm until we have a proceed back on the NICS system. It's always good to ask up front, because what if it's under review and 9 times out of 10 it comes back pretty quick, maybe a couple hours, maybe the next day. I'll bet 90% of those are wrapped up by the next day, but some go on for a while. Maybe they're waiting for information from another jurisdiction. Maybe they can't get a hold of them. Maybe they get a hold of them and there's no record of whatever they're looking for and they can't find it. And they have to dig deeper, and it goes on and on. When you get to that third day, business day, and it goes by time as well. So if you sent the NICS in at 3 p.m. on a Friday, for instance, you've got Friday. I think Saturday counts, but I may be mistaken. Sunday does not. Holiday, let's say a holiday falls on Monday, that could bring it out longer. Tuesday, Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you could potentially have your dealer deliver the firearm to you. But some will say, nope, we're going to wait. So it's good to know that up front. What if it goes 30 days? Like in my one case, it did. And I made the mistake of not checking with this big box store. And they said, no, we're not going to deliver it until we have it. Week went by, went and checked, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 30 days. Hey, guys, what's going on? Well, at 30 days, we basically have to start from scratch. You have to fill out a whole nother form. We resubmit it. And what's going to change this time, guys? You know, and they won't call. They won't do anything. They sit and wait. Even, I mean, I would think at an extreme like that, hey, pick up the phone, you know, and they won't. Even if the guy behind the counter is willing to, it's company policy and they follow it. I told them, give me my money back and stick your firearm where the sun don't shine. And that was the last time I ever did business with them. And I did a lot of business there. Thousands, tens of thousands of dollars worth of firearm shooting accessories, ammunition, etc. They lost out. Sorry. Not the individual's fault, but the company, whoever wrote the policy. So make sure you check, because there's local gun stores that do it too. Make sure you know. Let's check in and see who's here. Guys, I'm sorry about the start on the first live stream. Started up, everything was fine. And I looked down and I'm not getting any input on the microphone. Matter of fact, it looks a little weak right now. Let's see if we can adjust the gain up a little bit. I don't know if that's too much or not. Let's see. We'll get her in there. If it's too loud, let me know. But yeah, started it and I noticed no volume. So I went, switched, everything was working. When I popped off YouTube, my levels were bouncing, everything was good, but nothing on YouTube. And then when I clicked back over to this screen where I can see myself, it had frozen. So I believe it was a YouTube issue, something. I don't know. So all I did was restart. I hate it. That sucks. A lot of people that were here to see it bounce out, think it's over or something, and they don't come back. Terrible thing. We have our Peach Edition Red Bull here. Now, this started out as Koffee and Kalashnikovs. For those of you that visit here often, this is Red Bull Peach Edition. I believe it was a special edition to begin with, and it was going to go away. Well, I'm of the opinion that I drank and spent enough money on this stuff that they keep it around just because of me. That's how much I drink. That being said, I'm cutting back on my caffeine. So we went to the small Yeti today instead of my usual large one, and I'm only on my fourth. So I've cut back 50% on these and at least 2/3 on these. So yeah, I don't know. Caffeine, and I don't even feel caffeine anymore, but I love these things, so excuse me. Anyhow, let's see who's here. Joe Morgan says, hooray, we're back. He was here first, and he did say in the first stream that he actually got an announcement today. He said, all's good with the world. I got it out there early, so I hope, let me know if you guys all got the announcement that the stream was coming, because then I know that's a good time to drop it so you guys see it. Oh, that was me commenting. Here we go. Archil, I still don't know how to do it. We can hear. What do you know? I get grumpy too. Yeah, that pisses me off. Ross is here. You know what? It makes my day when Ross makes the stream. It really does. It's good to have you, sir. Thank you very much for coming. Orion Fixer, how is everything in the land of Chi-Town? You know, I was thinking about it, and I remember being a kid, not even a kid, teenager, late high school, maybe just after college or just after. I was going on the police department, and I grew up in Chicago. We moved there when I was in first grade, and before that, I lived just outside the city. My dad was a Chicago police officer. He got caught living outside the city. He had to live in the city, and they caught him using his mom's address. And we lived in a suburb about 2 miles outside the city. So we had to move in, and we lived in a very nice neighborhood. They lived there forever until just a few years ago. And I remember thinking, God, I loved this city. It had everything. I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. I mean, it had the nightlife and the downtown feel and the largeness of it all and the action of a New York without the stink and the crime at that point. And yet we had the Lake Michigan and its lake frontage. You might as well be living on an ocean. And the beaches were fabulous, and boating, and you had everything. And I was proud of my city. When I went to college, I was in college when the Bears won the Super Bowl, 85, Super Bowl shuffle, all that great stuff. And man, I went at it for all it was worth until the night of the game. My fraternity brothers, they took revenge that night on me. I won't tell you what they did, but let's just say I paid for all the comments and running around just talking about the Bears every chance I could, and they were sick of hearing it. But I was proud of where I came from. I was going to work for the city. I was going to protect the people of that city. And I loved everything about it, from partying downtown to the beaches to boating on Lake Michigan to serving as a police officer, all that stuff. And I remember thinking specifically, I will never leave this city. I love it. Fast forward, let's see, I got to figure out how many years this is now. Let's, for round figures, let's say that was about, it was between 85 and 90, but I was on the police department at that point. So let's say 30 years ago, roughly, maybe a little more. Fast forward 30 years. And with rare exception, and that's to get hot dogs, a certain hibachi lobster, and well, the other one's suburbs, so it doesn't matter. With the exception of going to get my favorite hot dog, I will not step foot in that city. It's unbelievable how bad. I flew down to Tennessee this weekend. I flew down Saturday night, and I had to fly out of O'Hare. So my kids drove me down to O'Hare, dropped me off. I'm very familiar with the airport, and I'm standing outside having a cigarette before I go through security. And I'm looking around. Now, I've been to that airport thousands of times, right? And it was a nice airport. It was the busiest in the world at one point, right? And I'm sitting there smoking, and I'm looking around. Well, first of all, the ashtray that they have there, a built-in one. When I say overflowing, it's a tube, and it's just a pile, and there's cigarette butts everywhere. So then I get looking down at the sidewalk, the cement. It's literally black. And I'm looking closer thinking, how is this so filthy? We're under a covered area, and there's gum and everything just mashed to where it turns into one big, and the street outside and the railings and the where they have some flowers, even that is filled with garbage. And I'm just looking around, and everything's just filthy, 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 not upkept. Used to be there were police everywhere, whistles going, move the cars, this, that. There was nobody, no help. Used to have the guys that came out and get your bag. Nothing, nobody to be found. Yeah, you could do anything you want there if you had a bad intent, right? And I'm just thinking, this is unbelievable. And then I go inside and go through, and just all of it. It just, it's nowhere near what it was. I thought this could be a third world country almost, signs falling down. It's just unbelievable. And I actually had stopped beforehand, got my favorite hot dog, and just everything from potholes to, it's just nasty, nasty, nasty. And then, if you guys heard about the event downtown where all those kids went nuts and were beating up people, robbing places, I think a bunch of them jumped a white girl down there and beat her up. And they said it all formed and started at what they call the Bean. The Bean is this big chrome polished, looks like a giant bean set downtown in the city. And it's a gathering place, a park, etc. I used to tell my daughters when they're saying, we're going down the city, Dad. I said, you know what? I really don't want you in the city. I wish you guys would stay out here. Oh, it's okay. We're just going to the Bean. That's where they would go all the time. And I'd tell them, you can't go down there. You little country naive girls, you will be eaten alive in that city, even back then. And now this happened at the Bean, and they both called me and said, oh my God, Dad, you were right. I can't believe it. I said, yeah, you know what? I always feel safe, but that's me. And I can't say that I don't have a sense of apprehension when I go into the city. Uh, and thank God, other than to fly, I will do everything in my power to not fly out of there. Milwaukee's got a great airport. Um, I can fly out of Madison for some stuff, but I don't ever want to go down there. And unfortunately, a lot of the whole state's going that way. Top it off, I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and same thing. Just nothing like I knew. Filthy, dirty, nasty city. The hotels have changed. Everything's changed. Don't even bother. I don't think I'll ever go back. Terrible. Just shows you what this world's coming to. Anyhow, I feel sorry for some of the folks that are still there, whether it's, family holding them there or a job. I get it. It's hard to get out. If family's there and you got to stay, if, you've been at a job a long time, you don't want to leave, you want to retire out of there. I get it. Heck, if you had nothing holding you there, the real estate market would hold you there. I got super lucky and got out well. But I'll tell you this, never in my life would I think home prices in Wisconsin would be more than home prices in Chicago and Northern Illinois. I couldn't believe it. But I got lucky. And yeah, I had to pay up to get the same level home as I have. Would have right now would have probably cost me another $250,000 just to trade to the same home 20 miles away over the border or whatever. Thank God that didn't happen. It worked out, and we were okay at that point. Anyhow, that's that. So anyhow, Orion, I feel for you. Hopefully when you want to, if you want to, you can get out too. Help neighbor kid. His rifle got a stuck case of Wolf 223 so bad I had to knock it out with cleaning rod, but it was red hot. So he was grinning ear to ear. Huh. So the round or just the bullet got stuck? The whole round got stuck in the chamber, or what happened, Joe? I've had more cases of that lately. I told some of you about that bullet getting stuck in the 223 barrel so bad, and what I had done at the range in a pinch, and while I was angry, basically I thought destroyed the barrel, and then I saved it, and the thing shoots incredibly well. So I got 2 barrels. Now we'll just have to build another gun. Let's see, Joe. That ban in Illinois is a giant virtue signal. They're going to lose the gun shops in Chicago, sold out of everything, back ordered on parts. Too terribly tactical. Told anyone in Illinois, max out your cards. I would. I actually, before doing this live stream, I called some good friends down there that have connections and know people, relatives that work at some gun shops. Said, what's the supply situation looking like? A lot of them are sitting well because they had a lot of inventory going into it, and they just sat quiet and waited it out. Others continued to sell online and out of state, and some didn't choose to replenish because they just weren't sure if it was worth putting the money into inventory that they may not be able to sell. And another friend sent me a bunch of pictures of a couple large gun shops that I know of. I have been to. I had purchased stuff from them when I lived down there. Big, big shops. And it was sad, actually, looking at the same shop with just empty, because what I didn't get until they informed me was not only couldn't you buy all these guns that fell under these definitions and or named individually, not only could you not buy the magazines, but you couldn't buy any parts. So think about how much room in a lot of gun shops or big box stores, just the parts section. For instance, Magpul, bolt carriers and handguards and whatever, any part, a spring, a pin, any part that goes into the assembly or accessorization of what they ban on that list was gone. They couldn't carry it. If you were in Illinois and your AR, I don't know, let's say you lost a detent spring and the detent. Yeah, good luck. Legally, on paper, you can't buy that part and or possess it. And so the rifle you have is done, over with, junk. You can't fix it because you can't legally buy the parts. That's how bad this was. So good for them. I hope most of the gun shops there got through it and are keeping their doors open. And hopefully they figure out ways to get as much inventory in as fast as they can and churn it out. Those cash registers will be just constant ringing, I'm sure, from now till God knows. Who knows? I bet it keeps going for weeks, months, whatever, until this thing is settled. So good. So the drought that some of these dealers probably saw hopefully comes back to them tenfold now and keeps them going. So hopefully it's good news. Right delayed is a right denied. You got it. Picking up a Kel-Tec KSG shotgun this week. Heard good and bad about those. Like anything, but that one received a little bad press. Never personally shot one, so I can't say. I'm just telling you what I've read. That void card is dumb as a sack of smashed buttholes. Yes, it is, Joe. Good to see you, everyone. Chase Kelly is here. He's another one, I think, Illinois, right, Chase? I get a couple confused, but it's okay. Joe, I think I've been delayed twice. Both were at the height of Koof. KSG is great. It can take mini shells. Just don't shoot your hand off. Yeah. Mini shells. Somebody makes an adapter for the Mossberg 590A1 I have, and I'd like to get that adapter and see if that'll run them. Not sure if it will. I've heard it will. But other than that gun, I don't think I have a shotgun that'll run minis because they're automatics. Be nice if you could run minis in the Beretta 1301, but I doubt it. They're kind of cool. Still a nice little punch for self-defense, I guess, in a house, something like that. But then again, why not run the full thing? But you can put a lot of them in a lot of these guns. 1312 sounds perfect. Thank you. Thank you for coming in and checking us out. Hey, guys, please, while we're at it, like, subscribe if you like what you see here and hear here. Like the channel, subscribe if you haven't. If you are subscribed, make sure check it because weird things happen, right? Also, believe it or not, the last live stream I did was demonetized. I don't know why. I've had several live streams demonetized, but then appealed and they've given it back to me. This one, after human review, was found to be unacceptable. I don't know what I would say, guys, that would be so unacceptable. I'm a pretty tame individual, don't you think? I don't know. Thinking back, I don't know what could have upset them. But who knows? Anyhow, while we're at it, It does get demonetized sometimes. So if you could, there's a super chat down there. You can put any amount in there. It goes right to the channel. We use it to bring you cool stuff, and we would certainly appreciate it. So if you got a little extra and you think it's worth it, give us a super chat. We'd appreciate it. Enough said. Let's see. Oh man, somebody threw one in there right away. Who is that? That is Martin Co. Dude, man, I appreciate it. And no question, he's just getting a freebie, I guess, or I'm getting a freebie. If you do it, I usually jump down, try to answer your questions first. And that's what we're here for, guys. We're here for the chat. This whole thing, I have a few things I talk about, but we go to the chat. We find out what you guys are talking about. New firearm, new this, new that. We talk about that. We answer any questions you have, AK platform, AR, whatever. We talk about it all. I never claim to be an expert on any of it. I've got a lot of knowledge, maybe a little more than most, but much less than others, certainly not an expert. So anytime I can't come up with an answer, the people in the chat here can usually jump in and figure it out. So if you got something you want to talk about, never be embarrassed to ask a question, guys. Like your teacher always told you, no dumb questions. The only thing that would be dumb is not asking it because you think you might be embarrassed. No big deal. Ask away. The only thing I really am not an expert in is probably, I don't know, hormone therapy, testosterone, things in current events lately. Not too good with that stuff, but everything else can probably fit in here. Let's see who else is here. So we said Chase Kelly Martin Co. is here. 1312. That seems like a new one, I think. Joe, of course. Thank you so much, Joe, for everything you do. Guys, go over to Joe's channel. Check out his rants. I love them. Some days they just put me in a good mood or make me think. Or sometimes, it puts me in a, I guess I join Joe in whatever his mood is then, sort of, which everybody needs a little company sometimes, right? And Joe does a good job at it over there. I'm shocked the thought police will let you smoke by an airport anymore. Yeah. Oh, Vegas, they have a smoking room or capsule in the airport, and there's slot machines in there, of course. So went in there to smoke on the way home, and I've smoked for decades. I couldn't take it in there. I had to leave. And then I thought, oh my God, I'm going to stink everywhere. I'm going to get on a plane. People are going to be like, what the hell? It was like a foggy tar cloud in there. It was unbelievable. It used to be like Atlanta used to have those too. Unbelievable. I'm getting to the end of my smoking career here, even though I enjoy it. Please don't follow in my footsteps, kids. It truly has affected my lungs greatly. Super shortness of breath, COPD, all that stuff. And it's terrible. But like I say, it's the only thing I got left. I don't have any other bad habits other than buying firearms, I guess. But yeah, I don't drink much. I don't do anything. So, I do enjoy it. I wish they weren't bad for you because I really, truly enjoy it. Chase will be right back. He had to make a call. Let's see. What else you guys got to say here? I can't imagine living in a city I was born in, a smaller town, still live here. That's awesome. Nothing better. We lived for almost 20 years in a small farm town in Illinois, about hour, 20 minutes, hour and a half west of Chicago. And it was the best move I ever made for my children, for our lifestyle, everything. As a city kid, I got to learn a lot about agriculture and farming, and we had some property, and it led to raising chickens, and we had cows and rabbits, and leased the land to a farmer to raise hay on, and just friends you talk to, people, they teach you a lot, and it helped with preparedness, being ready for emergencies and things. And living in a small town is great. Everybody knows everybody. Sometimes that can be a bad thing, but for the most part, if you're not one of those people causing commotion, you're not the subject of what everybody's talking about. So um, it was good. The kids loved it. Hell, we're such a small town. The kids would ride their tractors to school once a year. They had tractor day. And some kids like mine that weren't farmers, but I had a old Farmall H all restored, and my son would drive that to school on tractor day to high school. And then some of the big farmers, the kids of some of these big farmers with huge acreage would come in a ginormous, I don't know how many tires, 8 tire John Deere with navigation and air conditioning and all this stuff. And here comes a 14-year-old kid pulling into school in this $1 million tractor, down to kids with lawn tractors that lived in town. But they do that. Kids would ride their horse to school. They go trick or treating by tractor, quad, side by side, horse, mule, whatever. Um, it's pretty amazing. The country is a cool place. Kids are driving by the time they're 12 or 13, whether that's just a golf cart, a side by side, a truck, whatever, a bobcat, 12, 13 years old. They're operating equipment and doing, and, city, it amazes me. Parents, oh my God, how could you let your kid? You're developing independent children that aren't afraid to try things, that know more in a lot of cases than adults do in the city about using this type of machinery, equipment. And when my kids got their driver's license, it was no big deal. It was like, "Yeah, come on, you got to go get your license." What? Why? You know? um, it's a given. They ride their motorcycles, snowmobiles, whatever, everywhere. And the cops leave them alone once in a while if they don't stay in the ditch long enough. They can ride anything in the ditch. And it's the same here in Wisconsin. Nobody gives them any grief unless they're doing something stupid. But yeah, they all work for farmers as they're coming up. So they're, moving hay wagons and all kinds of stuff. Is it dangerous? Yeah, it's dangerous, but it builds good kids and smart kids and kids that can think for themselves and do things themselves and have ingenuity and all this stuff. And that's what we lack today. I think so many of these kids grow up so sheltered, never leave the basement or the video game console, never get out to a range. I mean, you don't worry about your kids having guns out here. They'd never think of anything or touching it when you. Well, I won't say they won't touch it when you're not home. If there's a predator in the yard or something bothering our animals or something, he knows what to do. He knew what to do. That type of thing, and you just don't worry about it. Anyhow, yeah, we were down there. It was just under 1,000 people, 997. I think we were the ones that put it over 1,000. And now the town we're living in up here is relatively the same size. We have a bigger city near us, but it's nowhere near the size of the larger city we lived near down there, which was, maybe some of you figured it out, Rockford. Rockford was about a half hour away for us. If we didn't go to the local grocery store, it was minimum half hour just to go 30 miles to go get groceries. So It's nice to have it a little closer. Let's see. Cops in Chicago could also do whatever they want in the 70s and 80s. John Berg, Midnight Crew. Yeah, that was my dad's time. He knew Berg, all of those guys. And you know what? I won't say I don't condone what they did, but take the really bad out of it, like Berg and those guys and the rest. And yeah, cops had more free reign to do what they do. When I came in, that was on its way out. And frankly, it made things harder and less effective. When I was a kid, um, if you went home and told your old man that we had a cop back in the day, his name was, we called him Officer Lousy, and his name was spelled Lousey, I believe it was, or maybe just Y, but it was Lousy or Lousy or something. We called him Officer Lousy. He was kind of a prick, but if I ever went home and said, "Dad, I was doing this and then he cracked me upside the head or slammed me up against a car," or you say, "Well, what were you doing?" And you tell, "Well, you deserved it." And then he'd give you one. But of all the run-ins we had as kids, young adults, and there were a lot of them, let me tell you, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, we ran pretty loose. Anyhow, you feared them, and that was a good thing. But you also had respect for them, and if they did something, you did something to deserve it. When I was in, I never saw a bit of racism from anybody. Um, Anything that did happen, minor stuff, I would say they had it coming, um, and that's how it was. It's hard to run that line all the time. And I won't say that there's people officers that don't get out of line. I'm sure there are. Personally, I never saw it. Um, I think because of video cameras, the attitude in general, that you see what would have normally just been a nothing burger is blown into these crazy things. And now, frankly, I think in a lot of cases they provoke things. Um, People don't understand how decisions are made in split seconds and how attitudes have developed to where uh, the person you're interacting with, um, the things they do, the mannerisms, the pushback uh, is what causes it, because they don't realize the pressure these officers are under to just stay alive, because those threats exist. And, a lot of people say, well, that's just an excuse. But hey, I was taught at a very young age from my father, a police officer, as a white man, when you get pulled over, put your hands at the 10 and 2 position, roll your window down, don't be moving around, don't reach anywhere, and greet the officer when he walks up. And when he asks for a license and whatever, ask him if it's okay, if you can, whatever, and do exactly what the officer says until everything is diffused and everybody's comfortable. And I did that all my life, anytime. There was no pushback or I ain't doing that or I don't have to do that or why you hassling me. You just did it. And guess what? They were nothing short of gentlemen the entire time. If I had it coming, I was doing something stupid, sure, I got a ticket. There were a lot of times I got a pass when I didn't deserve it. Um, and they were just being nice, seeing a young man and saying, "Hey, I was there once too. Don't be a dummy. Have a good evening." There were times when they did what they had to do, but I never, and that's what causes this stuff. It truly does. I don't think they realize they're putting their lives, everyone's life, in danger. And then, of course, whose fault is it? When it's, you've seen it happen, it happens all the time. You want to go home to your wife and kids, your family. I don't know. Enough of that. You know where I'm coming from. But yeah, back then, that was some bad news. But, you know, if everyone was a gentleman, it was fine. If they were drunk and a jerk, well, there were these marble steps going into the precinct, and things don't bounce too well off of those. But, I have gone to Chi-Town a few times for conventions. I had my first $90 steak there, and it was worth it. Let me guess, you went to Gibson's. You were probably staying around O'Hare, and you went there. But there's so many good steakhouses there. Gibson's, Morton's, the Chop House. There's a place called the Tavern in one of the big hotels down there. There's so many, even in the suburbs, just fabulous stuff. But I can get a good steak in just about any city in the country. I can't get a good Chicago-style hot dog anywhere but Chicago. And for those of you that didn't grow up there that don't know and think you've had a Chicago hot dog, most likely you haven't had it or haven't had it done the real and correct way. I am an expert. I grew up in a hot dog business. My father owned a hot dog joint. And if you want to know which ones, I'll tell you the best ones. I have told the National Guard to open fire. This is why people like me will never hold office. Yeah, right. So a friend of my son's is in the National Guard. He was deployed to Afghanistan, maybe twice now. Once, the one time, yeah. I can't remember if he went back. Anyhow, when stuff was going down originally with COVID and all, they called him up. They were being put up downtown Chicago. Here's at that time, 21, maybe 20. And he was in charge of his guys. And they had live ammunition. And I remember talking to him, and he's going, man, I'm worried. I'm really, really worried. All it takes is for one of my guys to get a little scared, whatever, because a lot of these kids were just that in the Guard and had never seen anything. Had zero experience at life, let alone, and they get a little scared. A bunch of people coming at him. He was worried, not about himself, but about what might happen should something happen. And I thought about it that night. I prayed for him actually because I thought, man, he's right. Something could go so wrong so quick. Thank God it didn't. But yeah, calling out the Guard. Illinois is third on the list of states of lost population. Yep. Where did I see? I see, Orion says one of my favorite shops didn't make it, gone. Where and which one? Joe, that's sad. Yes, it is. Again, Martin Coe for the 20. Thank you very much for the super chat. It truly helps and keeps us going. We appreciate it. Squeaky Cooler is here. What have you guys bought lately? Anything cool? Anything nifty? You know what we shot the other day? We went out and shot our M1 carbine. I don't know that I've ever done a video on it, but man, if you've never had the opportunity, it's such a fun rifle. It would be hard if I were in World War II and you had your Garand, and everyone that owns one knows how heavy it is, but knows how well it functions. And there's a lot of, oh, how do you say, confidence in holding that rifle. It's just so solid and all. But if I had been lugging that around for a few months and somebody tossed me an M1 carbine, I'd be like, huh, so light, so small, so maneuverable, so accurate, um, easy to fire, easy to carry, essentially sort of around a 357 kind of cool round. I wish there was a modern carbine or semi-automatic braced pistol maybe or something in 30 carbine with a pistol sidearm to match. I think that would be pretty cool. Um, Straight walled cartridge moves out pretty good. Originally, for those that view that don't know, the M1 carbine was never meant to be a frontline battle implement. Okay. I know a lot of movies you see, even Saving Private Ryan, sergeants carrying one maybe, or an officer, something like that. But what they were originally meant to do was give troops behind the front lines, maybe clerks, cooks, people back at base camp, whatever, um, a, a weapon to replace their sidearm, essentially the 1911. Uh, we were worried about being overrun possibly, and let's say there was a break in the lines and Germans entered a forward camp, they could defend themselves a little better with something like that. And while it it wasn't a powerhouse like a 30-06 cartridge or whatnot, it did well. And most reports were that they liked the rifle itself, and it was used quite a bit. You hear some guys say, "Oh, everybody hated it," this and that. That just wasn't the case. Not true. I've got to silence this. I love when my family goes on these texting sprees when you got 5 people in a thing, and I can't even figure out how to turn it off. It's ridiculous. Um, I never can figure this shit out. Can't stand it. See, there's nothing I can do. I don't know how to silence it. I don't know anything. But they just go, "Oh, see, Dad, you do this." And yeah, right. Okay. Where do you do that at? Doesn't show me anything. Oh, wait. Maybe I found it. Hide alerts. Yeah, that's on. Leave this conversation. There you go. Hopefully I'm out. Unbelievable. And they think it's hilarious. They do it to me at work or something in a meeting. Uh, Anyhow, so yeah, that's how it was, why it was developed, why it was brought in. And it was originally just the M1 carbine that came in, and then the M2 was introduced. The only real difference, from what I understand, is its ability to have select fire. And contrary to popular belief, while there were a certain amount of actual M2s produced, most of them were converted M1s. They sent conversion kits over to Europe, and the guns were converted there either in the field or by armors, etc. And that's why you don't see a ton of them stamped M2. If you have an M2, it's rarer than its converted M1 counterpart. Although I wonder how many are on the registry. That would be pretty cool. And I think that would be another good um, use for that weapon um, on the battlefield. I think it's a decent weapon for covering fire, that type of thing. Um, Kind of neat. There were reports that, oh, it wouldn't penetrate the Germans' heavy overcoats and stuff like that. That's a crock. That's all a crock. Anyhow, uh, Sam 5 update, please. Okay, I don't know if you were here last week, Clash. Um, I talked about getting with Arsenal, getting the gun back to them, have them do their fix. If you had been here in the live stream when the gentleman from Arsenal joined us here and offered me to contact him and all, I did. We emailed, we talked a little bit. I was supposed to call and I just busyness at the time. And I thought, you know what? They've got it fixed. They're taking care of it. Here's the damage, and it's not horrendous. I wanted to see how much it would progress. So went and put another, I forget what it was, 300 or 400 rounds through it. There's another video on that, which might be the one you're commenting about. And not a ton of progression, but I'm going to run about another 1,000 through it. I really want to see if it stops. Now, if it does stop, am I happy? No, I'm not, because it is overgassed. And a lot of the reason for buying that gun in 5.56 is to have the recoil control that is inherent in that cartridge. Being able to recover for a second shot faster, all that kind of stuff. On top of, having commonality of ammunition, most popular ammunition here in this country, that type of thing. But it does have more recoil than it should be due to it being overgassed. And that's not taking away from the fact that all AKs are inherently overgassed. That's part of their reliability. It lends to it being more reliable. But yeah, I do want it performing as it should, regardless of whether or not the deformations progress. So we're going to run another 1,000 though, just to see. And then we'll get it into them. And of course, we'll report on it, both the 1,000 rounds and what happens with Arsenal. I've heard other good reports that they're doing the fix and all that good stuff, and that it's all going well. The only thing I've heard, I guess, poor report that it is taken quite a while for some of them, a couple months maybe. But that's one person, maybe two people. Are they going to get it back instantly? Things take time. And how many do they have to fix? How many are being sent? I did have another thought too, although I do. So what they're doing is you get a new barrel with a different size gas port. I think a new bolt, maybe carrier, and I think that may be about it. If the carrier, I don't know if, depending on the damage, if I believe they should replace the whole rifle. I don't know. I mean, the thing's been slamming the back of the receiver quite a bit. The carrier is affected some. I don't know. I've heard a report from one or two people about what they were doing, and I can't confirm it. I'll tell you what, I will call the gentleman from Arsenal and get you an update direct from the horse's mouth, so you have that. We probably should do that. Um, my original thought was to leave the rifle as it is. If you guys had seen it, I put a Bakelite handguard on it and gas tube cover and an original salmon stock and all. Just make it look Bulgarian, right? But I believe that rifle in that caliber is capable of some pretty good stuff. And I think I'm going to turn that into sort of a go-to AK and add some tactical features and some optics that really make that gun useful for me. Um, I originally was thinking just it looks so good like that with the salmon stock and the Bakelite and all that I'd kind of leave it and have it be sort of a range toy thing. But I really think I'm going to go that direction, and we will really, really run this gun through its paces. I think it'll end up somewhere along the line of how our NPAP is equipped, or maybe our SLR 107 FR, that's our Krebs rifle, somewhere along there, not necessarily the Zenith, I'm sorry, the Zenitco stuff I have on there. But I still owe you the video on how we do our super light AKs. I'm going to bring you a video on that. Our super light, super handy, super fast, ultra lightweight AK, just with very minimalistic and fabulous rifle. We may go kind of between the two, between what our NPAP is and that lightweight one. But probably go with a 1x8 LPVO on it, I think. And we'll see what happens. What's up, my AK family? We're all doing well. And good news is weather is finally broke here too, so we can really get out and do some videos. I've been just yearning to get out and do some videos but it's this winter just has drug on and drug on and drug on. Opening day of fishing season is this coming weekend. Walleye season opener. Not all the lakes have the ice off it yet, so it's been a long, long winter, and even 40 to 50-degree days feel extremely summer-like and get you going. So we're going to go out and get some videos done, and we got a lot to bring you, all kinds of good stuff. Beginning of video, I was just playing around here with our K-bar. You guys seen this? I love K-bars. I always have a K-bar close by. This is the small one. It's not the full-size fighting knife, but the smaller one. It's really handy. You can throw it on and not feel it. I put this on plate carriers a lot of times, strap it in. It's just a nice size for doing everything. Very utilitarian. Great knife around the house, the farm, the property, all that good stuff. Let's see. Okay, here's a question. Can vegetarians drink mother's milk? Tell you what, yes, they can. I believe, because I've got some pretty strict vegetarian / vegans on my wife's side of the family, and I think most of it, if I'm correct, came from their religion and their beliefs. And most of it isn't, it's not to make a statement or anything, And it's more about natural and the things you should put in your body. And in some cases, the things God said to put in your body, that type of thing. So yeah, they can. I know they can. at least in their view, and they're very strict vegetarians. So take that for what it's worth. There's my answer on that. See, I know a little bit about some stuff. I don't know. I don't know, Martin, but boobs rock. Yes, they do, Joe. They absolutely do. And not to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Not to be a chauvinist or anything like that. Not to be mean. It's not to be gross. It's just to tell the ladies out there that you are wonderful and we love you. And, there's leg men and boob men and butt men. I'm sure there's the same for the ladies too. I'm none of the above, really. I'm a whole package kind of thing. And I'm here to tell you when it comes to that, size doesn't matter. They're all wonderful. I agree wholeheartedly, Joe. What are your thoughts about the Arsenal restrictor fix for the SAM5? Why was this a problem in the first place? Heard the rumors that there was a new hire and he was drilling them wrong and he was fired and that kind of stuff. I doubt that's true. Maybe it is. Shit happens in manufacturing, guys. I was in manufacturing. I owned a manufacturing plant. Mistakes happen. And you discover them and you go, oh God, and they cost money and nobody wants them to happen. And you do everything in your power to keep them from happening, yet sometimes they fall through the cracks. And it's not so much the mistake as to how you handle the mistake, right? As far as the restrictor fix goes, I had heard that they were replacing barrels with a new gas port size. So I don't know. You know what? I'm going to settle this once and for all. I'm going to call the gentleman that reached out to me from Arsenal here on the channel, and I will get you the straight scoop. Okay. I was putting it off. If you were here a few minutes ago when I said I wanted to run some rounds through this thing, why not? Right. If they're going to fix it, replace it, repair it, whatever, why not? Let's see what happens. It's already had the damage done, and it's not going to hurt anything any worse. So why not? But we will bring that to you. So the problem in the first place, I guess, to tell you, they were overgassed. The gas ports were plain old too large. Too much gas equaled too much force rearward on the bolt and carrier, and the carrier and bolt were hitting the rear of the receiver. On a stamp gun, you'd say it was hitting the rear trunnion, but it's a machined receiver. I was going to say machined gun, but machined receiver. So it was hitting the rear of the receiver, and it just so happens that instead of the back where it hit going straight across, there was a little U-notch cut there. I think it was done for just that reason, to allow room for, if it did come back that far, it missed the firing pin, but it's catching the edge of each side of the bolt next to the firing pin, and it's kind of flattening them out. So that's what it did. And it was deforming tails on the bolt carrier, but mostly it was deforming the tail end of the bolt itself. And that was the issue. Too much gas. And they weren't as soft shooting as they should be, and caused other problems too. And it was simply too big a gas port. How did it happen? Who knows? How do those things happen? Somebody grabbed the wrong drill bit. Somebody had a wrong spec. Who knows? But it happened. There's speculation as to what rifles it happened to. Misha thought it was later ones, but in his early serial number didn't do it. But my rifle was much earlier than his. Mine was in the first 200, 250 rifles to come over. and mine is doing it. So who knows? I will talk to this gentleman, get as much information as I can, and report back to you. Simple as that. I don't take a position on it either way. I don't say shame on you, and I don't say, oh, don't worry about it. Arsenal's a great company. While I believe they're a great company, I think my first video says it all. I said, well, I got this one, this one, this one. I've got a ton of Arsenals. I think they're a great company. I think they build a phenomenal rifle. Um, I've never had anything but a great experience with them, and super nice people to deal with when I've dealt with them on the sales end. I've never had to deal with them on the warranty end. Uh, I may be a bit more forgiving than others because I've been in manufacturing. I understand things take time. You've got to develop fixes because you want it fixed right the first time. When something as unfortunate as this happens, you don't want to rush to a conclusion and a fix only to have to do it again, and then things are worse. But some people, get out there right away and, oh my God, the sky's falling. And what are they going to do when they're not doing it fast enough? And oh my God, I've got $1,200 or $1,500 in this, and it's the end of the world. Stop. Just stop. Be a big boy. Know that these things happen, and yeah, it sucks. And if they take care of it, all's good. All's good with the world. It's a pain in the ass, but it happens. Not much. Gabriel stopped drinking a week ago. It's driving me insane. Haven't been able to sleep. Keep going, man. It gets better. Stick with it, Joe. Isn't it weird how they define alcoholism? And I'm not saying anybody's an alcoholic. I'm going to tell you a story of me personally. I love drinking. I had a great time. Probably did it too much. They say if it affects your life, your job, you're this, you're that. Well, you're an alcoholic, period. End of story. If you've ever blacked out once, you're an alcoholic. I'm here to tell you, me and tons of friends have blacked out on multiple occasions. Nothing recent, but college, this, that, the other, whatever. I mean, my God. I drank a lot back in the day, a lot. I had a great time. I didn't burn the candle at both ends. I took a friggin' flamethrower to it. I got in trouble, drinking and driving, all that stuff back in the day. I didn't lose any jobs over it. I didn't lose any relationships over it, but it certainly stressed a few, my wife would be steaming pissed when I'd come home all shitty and much later, or maybe way too early. I don't know. Being out with the guys, that kind of thing and all. And one day, it wasn't anything in particular. I don't know. I just stopped drinking. One day I went, when's the last time I was... Wow, that's weird. And it wasn't like a conscious decision to stop drinking. And I didn't stop drinking. I bet now, some years, maybe I can count on one hand the amount of drinks I have in a year. Other times, maybe two hands. But I can't tell you last time I was drunk. I don't know. And it was I used to get pretty... messed up 2-3 times a week, usually, back when I was younger, in my 20s and whatnot. And I was having fun doing it. Never hurt anybody except myself, I guess. And but my wife certainly didn't like it. And you have kids, and I guess you grow up, is all I can say. Some of us, it just takes a little longer. You go into your 30s, whatever, or your 40s, or whatever. I got lots of friends that still drink a lot, probably too much. But for me, it just kind of faded away. And I think what it boils down to is it just hurt too much anymore. I love bourbon. I still do. I enjoy it. But now I enjoy it rather than just guzzling it down. to have a good time and woohoo and all that stuff. Now I enjoy it. I enjoy, as any good Wisconsin person will tell you, I enjoy a well-made, and I mean well-made, brandy old-fashioned sweet. Let me tell you something. You cannot find those down south. They just don't know how to make them. I had one girl go, I know how to make it. You do this and you put vermouth and what? No, that's not how you make it. Never mind. But where you crush up the orange and the cherry and some sugar, simple syrup, or like I do it at home, I crush it up, fresh fruit and all, sugar, mix all that up, ice, 7-Up most of the way up, splash of cherry juice, the brandy, of course, and garnish it with an orange and cherries. And I like olives with mine too. And then I love a ton of bitters on there. And you can experiment with the bitters now. They've, like everything, there's 20 zillion types of bitters now. I go back to the good old standby, the one in the brown wrapper or whatever it is every establishment uses. And I love them. They are so delicious. And man, I tell you what, I had a magnificent one. One of the joints in Vegas had some great ones I really enjoyed. And now I just enjoy it. I think that's what, if you choose to drink, that's what it's about. I'm not an aficionado or a snob. I know what I like in a brandy old fashioned. I know what I like when it comes to bourbon. I don't mix my bourbon like I used to. I used to drink bourbon and Coke. I drink a lot of Jim Beam and Coke all through college. Everything, that was my thing. That was my fraternity's drink. And I'm not one of these, oh, have you tried the this and that reserve bourbon? I know a good bourbon when I taste it. I know what types of bourbon I like. And I do have a very few bottles of good bourbons that I truly enjoy. And now what I like more than anything is a really good bourbon, just on the rocks, not straight ups without ice, but on ice or a big ice ball, those big balls, and just enjoy it. So winter, summer, spring, fall, when the mood hits me, I'll have one or two maybe. I never get to the point of being drunk because I get too big a headache if I get that far into it before I even catch a buzz. So it's purely for enjoyment now. And you get there. So Joe, if it's hard right now, that kind of thing, when I stopped, I don't remember any issues, physical things, that type of thing. But, if it's keeping you up at night, whatever, get through it. If that's happening, yeah, there's probably something going on. So if you can, hang in there and do it. It's, like I said, I mentally it never dawned on me that I was stopping or slowing down drinking or anything like that. But if it is, stick with it, because I didn't notice, but now thinking back, God, it's so much better. So much better than being going to a really great event, a family thing, a function, and having a great time, whether you're drinking or not. But the next day is so much better, right? And the memories are probably not as skewed, right? But yeah, if you can, Joe, stick with it, man. And that's my experience. I guess if someone has a real physical dependency or something, well, then maybe they can't do like I do and continue to have few whatever. But it's an individual thing, I think. Um, so do what's right, um, and what you feel. That's all. But at least get a taste maybe of that side, Joe, without let it get better to where it's not causing you problems with sleep and all that, and see what you think. go from there. It's a personal decision, man. Um, I don't hold it against anybody what they want to do. It's your life. Um, as long as you're not out hurting people and all that stuff, who cares? Do what you do. I can just tell you my experience, and that's my experience. So, how do we get on that from guns? I don't know. Well, we try to help people and help everybody that comes here with any questions, problems with firearms, or personal problems. I can only speak from experience and maybe help some folks out at the same time, younger folks, older folks, whoever I can. But yeah, like Martin says, way to go. Keep it up, Joe, man. Joe, keep it up. Just don't quit smoking. Yeah, I would recommend quitting smoking at the same time. Now, if I can quit smoking, I got it licked because as much as I love smoking, I just like it. I enjoy it. And, but, the body's been telling me for quite a while now, it's time. You got to get rid of this. Plus, it's a pain. Today, they make it a pain for you, right? And I'm a little self-conscious about it. I worry about smelling like it and all that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, man, it's hard to quit smoking. It's hard. My wife's doing it right now. We both smoke, which makes it harder to quit. But she hasn't bought any cigarettes in quite some time. She just mooches them from me. But that being said, maybe she's cut down well over half. I won't say almost nothing, but she'll have a couple, 2, 3 in the morning, maybe one during the day, and 2, 3 at night. And she's done. She's that close. She should just be done and quit, because that was the idea. We get her completely quit done first, because she has more willpower than I do. She can do it easier than I can. She'll get it done when she wants to and puts her mind to it. And then the terror sets in, because that's when she comes after me and oh my God, I'll have to quit. I will have to quit, because it will be, God, it's going to be horrible. But that's the way I will quit, because she will be just ragging on me to no tomorrow. So that's how I'm going to do it, Joe. Squeaky said, besides Joe's channel, got to get over to Rabbit Hole's channel too as well. I wonder if ScrewTube knocked me off their subscriber list because I haven't noticed any notifications. So as you can imagine, I've got a ton of gun channels I subscribe to, and they don't show up in my feed anymore. Everything but does. I was watching the price of gold and silver for a while because I had wanted to get some more for a long time, and I knew prices were high, but I still wanted to get some. So I was looking at a few channels. All of a sudden, I'm filled with that and other stuff. But the firearm stuff, a lot of 2A stuff, no reviews, no this, no that, nothing in my feed. Now, I will say that there's just probably not a lot of it out there. It doesn't seem like anybody's doing any reviews. There's not a lot of new stuff out there, not a lot of new stuff available, and you're just not seeing those type of videos put out. I think maybe that's part of it, or maybe YouTube shifting the algorithm and just not putting the stuff out there. I know our views are way down. It just is what it is. I've been checking out a lot of Rumble lately, and I think we are going to put a bunch of content over there, our existing content, and start adding there as sort of a backup plan should things go haywire. But yeah, I like Rumble. It's just getting used to the creators over there, not the ones that are here that we're used to, but other things, and knowing who the truth sayers are and the storytellers, and figuring it all out, right? Because you got to do a lot of watching and spend a lot of time to figure out who the right people are. with freedom of speech and freedom of expression comes a lot more digging and research. Uh, Not to say that YouTube necessarily points you in the right direction, but maybe just that I've been here longer and we understand it. So there's a lot of that. Let's see. I think Rabbit's been having a break for work stuff. He does awesome videos. Cool. Martin, if I quit smoking, I'll make Charles Whitman look normal and reasonable. I'm not quitting drinking forever, just until payday. Joe, hilarious. Let's see. What? Joe, are you getting hitched, Joe? Joe said he met a woman in Texas. Things got really serious, so I have to get my shit together. More advice for you, Joe. Then we'll get back to guns. Don't get your shit together. Be you. If you get your shit together and everything's good, and she's like, oh, he's wonderful, and this is great, and that's great, and then you get married and the real you comes out, she'll be like, what the fuck happened? I hate this guy. Just be who you are, man. No big deal. So what's wrong with a little bourbon on your breath at 10 a.m. and a bit disheveled, last night's shirt on? Big deal. That's you, right? No. Just saying. Anyhow, I've had notifications turned off on other channels as well. Really? See, I've never noticed that. Everybody says it. I've never noticed it, really. I just don't get them. Squeaky, I really think, where the hell did it go? It just jumped on me, guys. Hold on. Now let's get into some look at this. I told you last week, guys, John Crump came and subscribed, and he just popped in with a super chat. I love John Crump. If you guys have never watched his channel, I don't know how you couldn't have, especially since a lot of you guys came over here from 2A-EDU's channel, who, if you haven't seen him, awesome stuff, awesome guy, does reviews, ton of 2A work. I've been watching him since the beginning when he was Glock Shooter or something or other. Changed his name to 2A-EDU as in education. Puts out great 2A content. He knows his stuff. He participates. He gives his time. He backs candidates. He interviews them. He goes to the state, to the Capitol, to all these events. He really puts his money and his efforts where his mouth is. And I found John Crump through him early on. Again, he's just, both these guys have just blown it out of the water. To use John Crump's words, I got to think of how he put it. Oh, not only is he a reporter, but he is a credentialed journalist. I love that. That was great. That's when he was going after, or not going after. No, I won't say that. He wasn't going after. He was talking about the prosecutor in the auto keycard case. And she just seems like, well, let's just say I once had a prosecutor on my ass. Something I visualize it as being exactly like my experience, although mine wasn't in the firearm realm. I had one thing going on in my life a bunch of years ago that I bet it was her twin sister. And to this day, oh God, I hope she's not married, because whoever married that woman, God bless him. God bless him. He's going to get screwed somehow, some way. But God bless him. But John Crump has a fabulous channel. He truly is. Well, the rest of us, like me, pure amateur garbage. I can't do this. I do it for fun. I shouldn't say for fun. I do it for every person that does a YouTube channel that talks about guns, talks about 2A stuff. We all have our own group that we attract, right? So if we were all 25-year-old guys that enjoyed AKs, we'd only get out to so many people. If we were all 30-year-old guys that were into the AR platform and 3-gun shooting, we'd only talk to this group of guys. So it's really cool that there's this wide spread of age groups, things we like, specialize in, that type of thing, where we get it out to everybody. And John is just the kind of guy that came, he's a young guy, does incredible research, has a lot of connections in the firearm world, as well as the legal side of the firearm world, constitutional side of law that affects the 2A world. Just a lot of connections through GOA and on and on and on. Matter of fact, I'd love to sit with him one night and just talk about, some he probably doesn't want to divulge, but the ones that are, he knows that he talks to on a regular basis that either provide him with some information or run things by him or whatever, that don't mind being in that public space. I'm sure the people he knows is just incredible wealth of knowledge, talent, different positions, whether they be government or whatnot. But he reports on all this stuff and does a great job with it. He's a family man like most of us. He's got kids and a wife and does all of this while keeping them happy and a roof over their head. And a lot of times, if not most of the time, he's first out of the gates with some of the big breaking stuff that comes out, and provides a lot of information to other YouTubers to spread the word when it comes to it. I never considered my channel a 2A channel, so to speak, like 2A EDUs or John's. It just sort of evolved into that. I'm still not that. But the portion of my channel that is me just talking about that, the 2A end of things from an average guy's point of view, like me. Somebody that's been around a bit longer, remembers when how things were, how they progressed, all these laws and things, and what we're at now, what we're fighting now, and what it's become. And when it became such a big deal to me, I just figured, man, it's got to be a big deal to others like me. And unfortunately, and don't take this, if you're one of these guys like me and you know this stuff, you follow it, you listen to it, you research it, you understand it. Maybe you're like me and not too good at getting it across, but if you're one of those guys like me, don't take offense to this. I guess I was shocked when I started putting the information out there, meaning it to go to people that I thought may not be as well informed on it as I am, and other people like me. And I was shocked when I found out that people I thought were informed or should know enough or care enough because they shoot a lot, because they collect, because they enjoy whatever in the sports of firearms. These guys that were so entrenched in the activities, but yet didn't know, didn't listen to, maybe didn't care, and or were just had no idea. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that more people weren't like me. Like, oh my God, I'm having a coronary over this. How is this happening? How are we going to stop it? How are we going to get the word out? All that. I was shocked when people I respected in the hobby, in the sport, in the business, that just were going la 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 through their daily life, thinking everything's just fine, and weren't hearing this stuff, weren't concerned with it, didn't understand where it was going. Guys that went, "You're kidding," or guys that you told and they just, well, it's going to be what it's going to be, to the FUD mentality and whatever. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I still am. Maybe it's my group. Look at this. I get 20 viewers max, maybe a week. I remember watching 2A EDU and his stuff started out. There were 8, 9 of us, 12, 15, 20, went to 40, 60, 80, 100, couple hundred. Like I said, maybe I just suck at this. I do it off the cuff. We jump on different topics. We talk about reviews. We talk about firearms. We touch on the 2A. It seems when I start talking about the 2A, you can watch the viewer count. Well, that sucks. That sucks, guys, because if you enjoy the other content and don't pay attention to what really matters, there ain't going to be no other content. Yeah, maybe we're winning in certain ends. This is not a fight that's remotely over. It's just starting. It just got hard. You've had more bills come down the pipe. The first couple of months of this year, like January 1 through, let's say, mid-March, more bills come down to the floor in Congress than you have had in the last 70 years. They are coming hot and heavy, and they're coming for everything. Is it desperation? Is it their last hurrah? Maybe. I highly doubt it. They know it's now or never. I think there's bigger things coming. My fear is that we have been lulled into a false sense that this is going to be all right. And then the other shoe drops, bam. And it hits so hard and heavy that it's just over. I fear that. So the fight has to continue. If you're not a member of the GOA, become one. Whatever organization you choose to back them. But I implore you to look at which organizations are doing the most, which ones are backing these cases, which ones are spending the money, which ones are litigating this stuff, and how they're doing it and how well they're doing it. It doesn't get any better than GOA. Like most guys my age, most guys older than me, a lot younger, a lot of people, the NRA was it. Unfortunately, the NRA doesn't do anything anymore. They just don't. I almost feel like I send them a check every year because I feel I have to, kind of. If I don't, I know they're not doing anything, but maybe there's stuff on the side they're doing, like maybe the board needs some new suits. I don't know, nicer shoes or a vacation home. I don't know. I feel sorry for them. No, I don't feel sorry for them. I do it because they were always the big dog on the block. Is that right? Most guys would say, don't give them your money. I don't know. I still give it to them, but I still give to the others too. And there's a ton of other great organizations out there besides the GOA. Look at your state associations and stuff. There's some good stuff. Local, it starts locally, right? That's where all these things take root. So if you're not getting involved locally or joining a state rifle association, something like that, you need to do that too. Hey, you can't afford it. You can always, it used to be, you can always afford this. Well, what is it today? What's a 20 today? 20 is nothing. 100 spends like a 20. What if you sent $20 to 6 organizations over the period of a year? You'd never miss it, guys. You really wouldn't. You might say, I'm flat broke. I can't pay the bills today. How am I going to do that? Just send it out. You'll figure it out. And it's worth it. It's worth it. Whatever you can give, it's worth it. So many good organizations out there, but like I said, follow who's doing what as far as tackling these big cases. And I can't think of any better than the GOA. Hey, if you can't volunteer money, volunteer your time. How about that? We all could give up a little of our time if you can't give up the money, right? Money is time. Time is money. So whether you give money or you give your time, it's all the same, right? Give something. Give what you can, because if this goes away, we lose a lot more in the hobby. It's what protects every other right out there. I know how bad I felt for friends, family, when this assault weapon ban came down from Pritzker. Even though I don't live there anymore, I told you, I never thought I would leave Chicago when I was younger. I loved it. And I thought, oh my God, it finally happened, And yes, it's a super blue state. It's right there with California and New York. Look at Michigan now. They feel the same way. You feel when it hits home like that, guys, you feel it in the pit of your stomach. You're like, oh my God, it's happening. If you're on this channel watching right now, your hobby, firearms, whatever you do, you're an AK guy. You like to shoot 3-gun. You just like going to the range. You like tactical stuff. You love messing with it, playing with it, changing it, doing it, building it, reloading it, whatever it is. If you're on here, it's that important to you. It's that big a part of your life, right? When it happens that close to home, it's like your stomach's being torn out. You can't believe it. All these thoughts. Who are you? How can you tell me? What have I done? I'm nothing but a country-loving patriot that loves his country to tears, that would do anything for it. And it's brave people. It tore so bad at me. And then you go into an anger, right? For those of you that have experienced it. And then it goes to, well, what do I do? And then maybe it goes to a feeling of hopelessness. And then you get yourself together and you say, okay, how are we going to do this? And there's bigger people than me behind it. Maybe not bigger, but they're part of it. And we're all part of it. And when we're all part of it, we're a force. But we're only a force if we're sharing, giving, sharing knowledge, sharing money, accomplishments, fighting this stuff in court, doing what we have to do to make it survive. Because at the end of the day, the hobby, I guess, is what kind of grabs you most. Like, oh God, what am I going to do? What about my collection I've worked so hard to put together and I enjoy so much? But when you get to a certain point in your hobby or your collecting, or it's always part of you, when that patriotism, that love of country, that love of the American way of life, and that hits you, it's gut-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching. Are you one of the guys that when the American anthem plays and you take your hat off, you put it over your heart, and that thing's playing or someone's singing it just perfect, or the Jets come screaming over, that the hair stands up on the back of your neck, that you get that little crack in your voice, that you got to turn away a little bit to wipe the tear away so your buddies don't see it? Are you that type of guy or gal? I am. I fully am, 100%. I love this country. You have no idea how much I love this country. And I'd do anything for it. It's given my family, my friends, my children, everything we could ever want. Hasn't given it to us. We gave it to ourselves. We worked hard for it. But nowhere else on the planet can you do what you do here. At least until recent times, maybe. And I don't fear for me. I worry about my children and my grandchildren being able to experience what I have, and to do it freely and do what they want to do, not what someone tells them to do. I worry about families and churches and hometowns and all that stuff because that's what we are. You know, if you got rid of every government program there is and every dime they squander and give away, uh, everybody here would still be just fine. Probably better because as a people, we're the most caring, giving people in the world. And that's how it always was. Before there were these welfare programs and cell phone programs and rent subsidies and health care and open borders and every other damn thing you can think of that's going wrong today. We didn't need it all because we're a charitable society. We took care of those people, whether it was through the charity of a church, a neighbor, a friend, a stranger. You remember when guys were coming back from Iraq, from Afghanistan, and a perfect stranger would see a guy or two guys eating in a restaurant somewhere and they just pick up the bill? Sometimes I feel like that just became this virtue signaling type of thing, you know? But God bless them. God bless them. I just hope those guys wearing the uniform today understand that how important what they're doing is. And I fear that our military's changed in a bit. I may be wrong, and please, if you're one of those people that feel like I do about this country, God bless you. Keep doing your job. We love you. But if you're not, I listen to a lot of people, ex-Navy SEALs, big channels that go into things. There was a big change in our military from the leadership down. People were run out on a rail. People were replaced. Policies, woke policies, all this stuff. They took all these guys with all this experience and knowledge and warfighting ability, and they didn't want them anymore. And they replaced them with God knows what. Maybe the stories are exaggerated. Maybe it's just not true, but I don't know why men that fought and suffered and got hurt and got maimed and gave their lives, sometimes their relationships, marriages, everything up for what they do for this country would exaggerate or report things that just weren't true. I think there's a lot of that happening, and that scares the hell out of me. But the one thing I do know is that this country just came out of the longest period of being in conflict and at war that this country's ever seen. Over 20 years of being at war. And in that 20 years, we developed a fighting force of the best soldiers, war fighters on the planet this planet's ever known in any age. uh, men capable of things that are just astounding. And they did it not for their own soil, they did it for others. Whether they, uh, whether the reason was um, that was given to them was legit or not, or whatever, but they chose to keep doing their job and doing it well. And this country and our armed forces trained millions of these men and women to do it, how to do it as the best in the world. So no matter what they've done to the armed forces currently, it's got to be, I wonder if they think about it. I bet they don't. There's some things that, as big as the government can be and all that, I think they just miss. Do they realize that they trained a few million of the greatest war fighters in the world, and that all those men and women are here and they know how to do what they do? It's got to scare the hell out of them in a way. You better not upset them too much, right? I think they forget that, and we've got that on our side. Sure, they're aging. Sure, they're a bit older. Maybe they're a bit wiser too. And I know most of them that did it at the top level, at that operator level, at that special forces level. And there's not just a few of those out there. There's a lot of them out there. Those men, women, people, they tend to stay in shape, and they tend to continue their training, and it's a lifestyle. They live it every minute of their lives. And they're ready anytime. Matter of fact, if the proverbial poop hit the fan, they would be there begging to get back in, I'm sure. A lot of them did it already. They had just gotten out, and 9/11 happened, and they begged and did everything they could to get back in to go fight. Yeah, there's some great people out there. And that's what we need to keep doing. And we need to keep up our fight on this end, because this fight over the Second Amendment will never stop. They say it. They finally say it, right? And some of them say, oh, they just said quietly what they have been trying not to let us hear all this time. No, they say it loudly too. They want the guns gone, period. All of them, every last one. They want the BB guns gone. They want everything gone. It's all about control. So don't let it fool you. And they will stop at nothing to get them gone. And one day, I got a feeling no matter what we do, there'll be an announcement that it's time. Yeah, we need to turn them all in or face whatever. And there'll be a large percentage that will do just that, because they're rule followers. In their eyes, they're good Americans, patriots, doing what's right for the people, for the country. And then there's critical thinkers with common sense that will slow down for a second, take a deep breath, and figure out what really should be done. And maybe choose not to comply, right? And do what's right, what the law of the land says to do, right? And it does. It lays it out pretty good. And it's not a suggestion, right? Yeah, it's not a suggestion. Remember that. It's an order that you're to follow if you follow the law of the land. So like I said, there'll be those that just turn them in, or those that have always talked big. They'll never, from my cold dead hands, right? All that bullshit. There's those. And then there's the people that love this country and believe in it and believe in its ways and believe in everything it does to help the world and everyone in it. Yeah, we screw up once in a while. We're not perfect. We screw up a lot, but it's still the best damn thing this world's ever seen. And nobody, think about how many countries never made it to 100 years or 200 years or 250 years. Even the great Roman Empire fell, right? They never made it. But somehow a bunch of outcasts, a bunch of strangers came to a place and sat down and wrote some documents that are just incredible. If you've Guys, when you're done with me tonight, just Google it, pull up a copy. Read the Declaration of Independence. Start reading the Constitution. These men are incredible to me. It's how it was written and the forethought they must have had and how they put it together to where 250 years later, through all the changes in society, changes in technology, changes in the world and governments and functions and inventions and everything else out there, it stood the test of time. Why? Because ideals and the right way of doing things, what's fair, just, what's done from a godly perspective, from a religious standpoint of actually caring about people. And like it says, realizing that all men are created equal. When it's done from that righteous standpoint, it will stand the test of time, regardless. And that's why it's so great. But it still had to be put together by mere men, right? That were pretty educated, right? But I wonder if you took a random group of businessmen, farmers, traders, international tradespeople that just got together and tried to put something together as good, could they do it? Could they even come close? I don't know. Some say that there was divine intervention when it came to the founding of this country. That somehow God himself shined down upon the beginnings of this country, whether that was to inspire the writers of these documents, whether it was to influence events that happened to, pinnacles, an event that was a pivotal moment in forming this country, whether it would happen or wouldn't. Some say it truly was only through divine intervention that it happened. A battle that just by a miracle went our way, by a certain weather front coming in at just the perfect time to stop the Capitol being burned. How's that one for one? People say it was clear skies and the storm came in, and there's multiple cases of it. Could it be coincidence? Sure. But some of it is truly amazing. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. That's for you to decide. But whatever it was, there's always times in history when miraculous things happen at just the right time, just the right place, with just the right people and the right events, and it all comes to fruition and develops nothing short of miraculous events in history. And this country is one of those things. And you should feel damn lucky to live in it. Maybe damn lucky to live in these times that we're seeing. Whether you see them as chaotic or you see it as tragic or the beginning of a new age or the end of an era or the final act being played out in the Bible or however you see it, still amazing times. It truly is. So to live through it and be here for it, be excited, do something about it, be part of it. Okay? That's what I'm telling you. Be part of it one way or another because it's important. It's important that what we've built here lives on, continues to grow. It might get a whole lot harder real quick here, guys, but we'll manage. We'll manage one way or another. And maybe God shines on us again and we figure a way out of this mess that some of these politicians have put us in. Whatever it is, we can do it. It's America. You're an American. And that's the amazing part of things. Love it. Love it. Anyone tried the WIT machine SME for AKs? No, I have not. Yeah, it's a new one on me. I haven't heard of it. WIT machine. They didn't invent the cotton gin, did they? Just messing with you. It's just a flash and gas forwarding device, non-NFA item that says it helps minimize percussion and sound at the shooter. So it's a can, flash can or whatever. There were people saying that some flash cans, like a cat can or whatever, were essentially illegal or deemed silencers or suppressors. Anybody ever heard people say that? I've read through it in passing and read it and not paid attention to it and later went, what the hell was that? And then I couldn't go back and find it somewhere or whatever. But I don't think any of that stuff has ever been even remotely considered to be NFA, if I'm right. If you guys have heard any different, it'd be interesting to see. Anyways, and to finish off, guys, I got on a rant there. I truly do love this country. But go over to John Crump's channel. He is on top of things. He'll keep you on top of things, and he's doing the right thing. The auto key card case, what he's done to help Matt and his family is one of those things just remarkable. And you can go over and help. He'll show you where to do it, how to do it. If you want to help. Hopefully we get some good news in that case. That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. He didn't come out and say it, but I guess this prosecutor must have either had words for him, about him, toward him somewhere. I don't believe they contacted him directly or anything, but you could tell in one of his videos he was pretty worked up about it, and he let him have it pretty good. In God, it was phenomenal work, John. If you're listening, phenomenal work. And I agree with you. What a bunch of shit, huh? Unbelievable. Fancy flash can, pretty much. I might try one for my ZPAP. What are you looking to do? Is it it's obviously not a shorty, right? 16-inch barrel. Why don't you go with a Meridian Defense BD2 muzzle brake? Do you a lot more good than a flash can. Or go to a Krebs 4-prong flash hider if you're looking for a flash hider. That kind of thing. I'm sorry, but for what even a budget AK costs, their QC should be white glove. Every company, even High Point, should be too. Guns are a tool to save lives, but range day, no biggie. but your life is at stake. I've had plenty of guns that if my life was at stake, I'd be in a whole shitload of trouble, let me tell you. Yeah, I feel bad for some folks that can only afford one weapon to protect themselves, whether it be a pistol or a rifle or maybe one of each. And they maybe aren't the most informed, walk in and take a recommendation, go home with some stuff that I wouldn't trust anything to. I've had some so bad that you just shake your head, you know. But for the most part, most of it's been good. I mean, you stick to it. There's even budget guns out there that are great, guys. There's budget guns that are fabulous. So price, while it comes into play a lot of times for the average person, you know, something like a Taurus G2, whether it's G2C, G3, whatever, fabulous self-defense pistol. Obviously Glocks, hard to go wrong there on a 17 or a 19. You want one rifle, AR, hard to go wrong with a Colt, hard to go wrong with a Daniel Defense, Palmetto State. It'll do everything it says it does. Will it last as long as whatever? Who knows? But it'll get you through. Aero Precision, fabulous company. Their stuff was originally deemed sort of budget, but now everybody looks at them as a top tier manufacturer. Let's face it, they produce a lot of stuff for some pretty big names out there that garner some big dollars for their parts. And who's making them for them? Aero Precision. So, you know, they do come, that precision name is not just something they came up with from the shooting industry. They were in the aerospace space. That's what they did, where precision is a thing. It really is a thing. And they brought that over to the gun side of things. I'm staring at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Aero Precisions right now. Maybe another one here somewhere. All of which have not had a single issue, none. From 7.5-inch barrels up to 20-inch, and well, all 5.56 except one, 308. And I know what's his name from T-Rex Arms did a test on the AR-10 from Arrow, and he called it a failure on the bolt and this and that. And I put a lot of rounds through mine, and it's just fine. But forget about that. If you're talking just AR-15, they build magnificent stuff. Of all the hundreds of products I've bought from them, never had an issue with one. Not one. Down to the smallest items, down to the largest, not a single issue. And probably out of 10 rifles and pistols. So there's things out there you can go to that will protect you just fine in every event. I would trust my life to any one of their ARs. AKs, I would trust my life to every AK I own. Trying to think if there's even an exception. As far as pure functionality, functions all the time, every time, is accurate, is reliable, hasn't had any issues, breakages, anything. I can grab every single one, and I could run into the fight and not worry about it at all. Most of the problems I've seen, and some were high-end stuff, some were low-end, have been in the way of pistols, semi-automatic pistols, um, 22 caliber stuff, which I'm not going to trust my life to no matter what, because it's not so much the weapon problem as it is the ammunition problem. I don't think there's a single manufacturer of any line of 22 ammunition that I can say is good enough all the time, every round, to say I would trust my life to it. Just isn't. Whether that's due to it being a rimfire caliber or a rimfire cartridge. I think it has, well, it's hard to say. I think in a lot of cases it's ammunition, in a lot of cases it's the firearm. But put the two together and it just makes a bigger mess, right? While you may be able to find a certain ammunition that works just fabulous in one firearm and another one you have to run only this, great. It's all well and good. Well, what happens when you run out of what you got? You got to grab something else. And it's not going to feed it, or it's going to jam it, or it's going to stovepipe it, or failure to fire, or whatever the case may be. 22 is never a good choice to run into the melee with, right? But AK wise, AR, there's very little out there, with the exception of, some of the early U.S. manufactured and or assembled AKs out there. There's some stuff you shouldn't touch, but you don't even see those manufacturers anymore. Pretty much guys like Rob Ski, channels like mine, his, a lot of others have that did the Rob with his 5,000 round tests and all that. They held them accountable, and they either got pushed out of the market because people vote with their dollars, or they just went away because people demand better quality. They're just not left. Pretty much everything on the market today, in the AK platform at least, you could bet your life on it for the most part. Yes, there's always going to be issues, but if you took them all, whether there's Zastava, Arsenal, Kujar, Romanian stuff, even Century guns, Krebs, boutique manufacturers, Kalashnikovs USA, Palmetto State, any of them. Maybe some of the guys, and I hear it more from guys that have been in it a shorter period of time. They say, well, this just should be like this. It should be 100%. It should be this and it should be that. All I'm going to tell you is go back to my time when I started with these things, when the stuff that was coming out was like, holy Jesus. I mean, barrels were pushing out of trunnions, some of them you could, oh, geez, look at that. Pins would go, metal was so soft that there was junk out there. 15 to 20 years ago, there was stuff out there that I swear they just thought, well, anybody buying an AK platform firearm is probably going to buy the rifle, buy 2, 3, 5 boxes of ammunition for it, take it to the range and maybe put 100 rounds a year through it for the next few years, whatever. And then he's either going to put it in the closet or sell it off or whatever. And that's that. So it's only got to last that. I'm pretty sure that's what they thought. uh, because I think they thought that the serious guys would, of course, be going to the AR platform, or that serious prepper might be he's got a crate full of SKSs, or he's got an FN or whatever, FAL. But the AK was just looked upon as a $200-300 piece of commie crap. And so when Sentry started bringing them in, and some other manufacturers, um, they slapped them together as cheap as they could and put them out there where they could make as much as they could, and didn't give a rat's whatever. And unfortunately for them, and fortunately for us, the popularity it's gained and the attention it's garnered has driven the market to push those manufacturers out. They don't exist anymore. They can't, because of 5,000 round tests and things like that. Name another platform that gets run through the ringer like AKs have. And not even so much anymore, but I'm going back now to, for instance, when Rob Ski first started doing it. Name another platform, rifle or pistol, where there were not only one channel but multiple channels that said, today we're going to run 1,000 rounds through this gun, or 5,000 rounds. We're going to do multiple videos on a 5,000 round test and see if it survives. And then that test or rounds or whatever becomes the gold standard by which that platform is judged. You won't find it. You won't find it. You won't see the 1911, and it's hundreds of manufacturers being run through that ringer, will you? Today we're going to take this thesis, heap of shit, 45. We're going to pull 1,000 rounds, 230 grain ammo through it. We're going to hang from a tree. We're going to drop it down the sewer. We're going to stick it up our behind. See what happens. You don't see it, guys, right? You didn't see it. You don't see it with the AR, for Christ's sake. You don't see it with FALs. You don't see it with lever actions. You don't see it with anything. It doesn't happen. The reason the AK is what it is today is because of the AK community early on having to deal with such garbage, came up with this craziness, right? Face it. Let's face it, right? If an AK cannot pass a 5,000 round test, started and continued through the years as AK Operators Union has done, then it won't make it. Now, I don't know when the last time Rob did a 5,000 round test on a rifle. I can't remember. I mean, there just aren't any new stuff hitting out there, and with the price of ammo and steel case ammo gone and all that stuff, it just hasn't happened. But it did its job. It forced it all out. It made Romania produce much better rifles, right? Even better looking ones, because they never paid attention. It was a military gun, military factory. They didn't care what they looked like. We cared how they ran. And the mighty Wasser passed from the beginning and still does, and goes far beyond. Zastava, they had a little slip up with Rob on the NPAP. One was it a firing pin or a retainer? Then a little crack in a receiver that I find bullshit anyways, but it still passed. OPAPs, ZPAPs, NPAPs, everything. Zastava, been making military weapons for the world forever. Everybody thinks, well, the be-all, end-all that started it all is the Russian AK-47. Well, the most prolific AK platform in the world, and the most used in warfare, in battle, actual battle in countries all around the world. There's been more Yugoslavian AKs built by Zastava, used in more conflicts in more countries by more armies than Russia could ever dream of having out there. Did you know that? Yep. The M70 has by far surpassed any Russian Kalashnikov pattern rifle. And I say that because we're not talking just AK-47s or AKMs or AK-74s or 100 series or whatever. Put them all together, and more Yugoslavian M70 pattern rifles have fought in more wars, in more conflicts, in more battles with more armies and more people than all the Russians combined. So I don't think we need 5,000 round tests on the Yugo to tell you that, but it still did pass. ZPAP, OPAP, this PAP, PAP smear, all of them, they passed. Arsenal, plenty of arsenals have passed the test. Plenty of other stuff have passed. Name of the manufacturer. And the bad ones that couldn't went away. They literally don't exist anymore. Now, look at Kalashnikov USA. Sure, they got their problems here and there, but still a magnificent weapon. Look at, what was I going to say? Palmetto State. American companies have tried forever to duplicate and have a rifle as reliable and as accurate or more accurate, and have all the accolades that these communist Russian started military plants around the world. America's tried to duplicate it so many times and just couldn't get it right. Multitude of companies here in the States tried it. Couldn't get it done. Matter of fact, when Palmetto State started pumping them out, they failed miserably. Some could say they used the American shooting public, at least the ones that liked AK-47 platforms and wanted a cheap one. Some could say that they used those people as their R&D department to some extent. Yeah, how many gens are we on now? And gens with this barrel and that barrel and this and that. And now they're building spikers and they're building all kinds of stuff, right? But they finally got it down. Century didn't get it. In my opinion, still hasn't got it, even with whatever, what's their latest and greatest? The Vishka? I wouldn't buy one. But even that seems to be holding together. And somebody will always come up with an example of, well, this blew up. Well, yeah, you'll blow up one day too, But the really bad stuff isn't there anymore. Palmetto got it right. Their new guns are phenomenal. You can put them up to just about anything. They don't exist. It's hard to buy a bad one today. Just don't buy one that the name starts with an I. You don't want to do that. Never buy that. Once in a rare while, I still see one float by on Gunbroker or somewhere, and you go, oh man, they're still out there. But very few. Don't see them too often. John Crump News. What time was that at? 9:35. He was out of here an hour ago. Well, I hope he wasn't offended. He says, okay, and I'm out of here. Did I offend him somehow? I thought it was nice. I don't know. Maybe he just had to go. But We appreciate John Crump and everything he does. Fabulous channel. You always get the straight scoop from him. Before you'll probably get it in a lot of other places, and he does a great job. So check out his channel. I think you'll enjoy it. He's just a good guy too. He's funny. Wolverine's mother. uh, Maybe I should start doing that, huh? As a tribute to Crumpy. Crumpy. I'm not close enough with him to call him Crumpy. I don't feel like that's proper for me to call him that. I'm not close to him at all. I've never spoke to the man, but I know I was excited to see that he came over and subscribed and that he checked in here. That amazes me. That absolutely amazes me that this little crap channel brings people like that here. I mean, if you guys don't know who he is, that he's a big deal. He's a big deal in the firearm world. I'm amazed. But then again, who knows? Maybe just doing it because he's trying to be a nice guy. Who knows? But we appreciate him coming over, and go pay him a visit and check out some of his videos and his live streams and all kinds of good stuff. Let's get through the chat here. See if you guys want to talk about anything else. I'm sorry, but for what even about? Oh, we just went through that. When you talk about budget AK though, Joe, literally the most affordable is probably the Palmetto, right? And I think you can trust your life to that rifle. I really do. Who else has an FN barrel? Nobody. It's a solid rifle. I had the opportunity to shoot 2.8 EDU's Palmetto State rifle, and man, I know it's not proof of longevity or anything like that, but boy, they build a pretty rifle. Holy Christ, that thing is gorgeous. And hey, he ran it through what, 1,500 rounds, I think, and I'm sure he's got more through it now. And it looked like when it was new. But you can certainly grab a budget AK and QCB just fine, and you can trust your life to it. Oh hell, I've blacked out enough. They say I should need serious help. Don't worry, I'm there with you, Joe. I did what? Who are you? Shit, car's not in the driveway. 20 minutes to get to work, run around the neighborhood. We've all been there, and it was a blast, and I wouldn't trade 1 minute of it. It was a good time. I just thank God that everything worked out. Squeaky, yeah, I have my moments of some drinks too. Oh, that's when Crump jumped out. He's like, oh, bunch of drunks over here. Still enjoy my single malts with a good cigar and a good cold beer when needed, but my drunk days were more than satisfied in the Navy. Yeah, right? It's you outgrow it after a while, hopefully. If you're not, well, you better start working on it, let me tell you. Later, John. Be watching for later tomorrow. We certainly will. Good dude. Chase is out. Dorian's still here. Those flash cans make blasts. Channel forward, short AR and AK pistols rattle your eyeballs, especially indoors. That makes it less punchy to the senses. When are you going to come on my live stream? I just missed out. Why did somebody? I just missed out on John Crump inviting me to his live stream. Maybe he's still in here. Good night for real. See, now he's gone. Fuck. Oh, I didn't say it. That was like Wolverine, mother, Okay. Got it? Yeah. Some of you have my number. You should have texted me. Jesus. John Crump News. Please F if should come on my live stream. Press F. Oh, he's still in here. Yay. Yeah, I would love to, man. Holy cow. Man, I'm um I'm a little scared. Not scared of going on. I just feel like I'm not worthy. I don't know. Um, yeah, I would love to. I would love to. We have to talk about what we should talk about. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to. I guess you take the lead, and I'll just comment as much as I can. I don't know, or if you want to talk about a certain subject or whatever, that would be awesome. I would literally, um, God, I'm taken back by it. Um, I'm sorry. I don't want to make you feel like, geez, this guy's a little strange, worships me. No, that's not the case. Um, yeah, it'd be fun, man. It'd be awesome. God, jeez, I am grateful that you would even consider having me on there. I really, really, truthfully, that's impressive. Hmm, yeah, let's talk. Yeah, I think you can get my email through if you the about screen on here. If not, I guess why don't you tell 2AEDU it's okay to give out your number or something, or he can give you my number and just give me a call. Yeah, call 2AEDU and he'll give you my number or my email or both, and we can talk, man. That would be awesome. Who thinks that's cool, guys? That's awesome. Damn, damn, this will be fun. Um, I have never done a live stream other than just me, myself, and I here. So that will be that'll be cool. That'll be. We talked about it. Me and 2AEDU talked about it, and when we were at the 2AEDU get together, we did one together there, but never remote. Apart, whatever. Um, it's cool. I would love to. Um, I talked about doing one with Mark Krebs, see what he has to say, and we just haven't gotten it together. But it would be so much fun. That would be great. He likes to read the chat, Crumpy. It takes him a minute, but he gets to everything eventually. Yeah, I do. I like to. It depends how the chat's going. Sometimes there's just questions and all kinds of good stuff, and we get through it, and it leads us in down different rabbit holes, whatever. Sometimes we get stuck too long in one spot, but I always rip through it one way or another. It's just how this has evolved, mostly because I'm too lazy to plan anything. Yeah, there we go. Um, I'm too lazy to plan anything out. As a matter of fact, my wife is yelling at me tonight before I went live that, so did you write out or plan what you were going to talk about? Did you research anything? Did you do that? No. I watched other videos last night till 4 a.m. Does that count? Um, you know, it's not me. I just talk off the cuff and we get on a subject and we run with it. That's why I say this is your show, guys. This is your show. You want to talk about something? Put it in the comments. That's what we talk about. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe people want to hear something that someone else comes up with. Maybe they don't want to talk about what they want to talk about. I don't know. Um, all right, John, thank you very much. I will respond to you. Actually, I got all day tomorrow. So I am going to go shooting tomorrow because I've been so busy with everything else in my life that I got to finish building a chicken coop in the morning to make my wife happy. And then I don't even know what I should shoot tomorrow. What do you guys think? Somebody throw two up there that I should do a range trip with tomorrow and or a video. Um, and that's what I'll do. I got a couple ideas, but I'm just going to blow some steam off tomorrow and have a good time. I have not been able to get out shooting in weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Just been too busy with family stuff and other stuff. And I've got a kind of a side thing planned. We talk about preps here once in a while is kind of a side offshoot. Oh, we've talked about food preparation. We've talked about gold, silver. We've talked about firearms and how much ammo you should store. What's the right stuff? What firearms? What equipment? This and that. I don't think we've ever. Yeah, you know what? The MK44 is a good choice. It's such a magnificent gun. Magnificent. How about some Eastern Bloc pistol? Ooh, haven't done that in a while. You know what? Makarovs would be fun. They're always fun. So we could do that. I did one Makarov or two Makarov videos, and they never did very well. It's because the first one I did was when the tail end of the Bulgarian Makarovs were going away. And there wasn't that enough people out there with them, brand new, just got one, who kind of neat, want to learn about it, kind of thing. But you would think with all the AK world just blowing it up over the last 10 years that there'd be more interest. You know what else? You know what I really haven't shot much are my Tokharovs. I got 2 or 3 of those and shot them a few times and just put them away. That's a very interesting round. Very cool. Fast as all get out. That would be kind of cool. Maybe we'll do that. I've got, you know what? How about the Hungarian pre-ban AK? That might be fun, huh? Because did I do a video on that for you? I don't know. Did you guys even know I got one? Yeah, I don't remember. I truly don't remember if I did a tabletop or something on it. But it's sitting right here, and I can honestly say the QC on that gun, it's a Kaznar import, and it's a, whatchamacallit, what's the manufacturer again? I don't have it here. You know who it is, the who made the Hungarians. Anyhow, fit and finish from the wood to the metal finishing to the fit to everything. It is the most picture perfect AK in my entire collection. It's just perfection. They truly made it look as good as any AR as far as the finish goes and the wood and everything else. I marvel at it. Just it's as plain and as it's a quintessential AKM with the wood and everything. Quintessential. Down to its steel mag and slant brake and even the vented gas tube and everything. Man, just a neat gun. It might take the cake as the most well-finished AK I have ever owned. It's that nice. The only thing I can think of that comes close is the Vepr. But again, the Vepr is sort of its own thing. And they never did an FM with just wood. It was all polymer, and while the fit and finish on those Veprs is perfect, bar none, this, if you're looking at a wood and black AK, this is it. And I don't know if it's because it's Hungarian or if it was because the importer Kaznar demanded them be a little better for the American public or whatever. I don't know, but I got a feeling that that's just how they made these. It's that nice. So that would be so much fun. Essex and Orange, a live stream with Clayco 47 would be awesome too. Oh, that's nice. Really? You come on my channel and then you tell John that you would rather see one with Clayco? Really? Traitor. Somebody kick him out. Get a moderator. Kick him out of here. I'm kidding, man. I was just messing with you. Oh my God. But that is, yeah. Like, who's this Clayco guy? Just some young kid thinks he can shoot fast. ALG trigger. I'm faster than he is. ALG, nighty night, bitch. No, I'm just messing around again, man. He's quick. He ain't that quick though. I don't research anything. I just fire up a smoke after I roll out of bed and let the words out. If I put in research, it wouldn't be organic. That's kind of how I see it too, a bit. But there are times where I wish, oh God, I should have put, But hey, everybody gets that, right? So we will do this for Sam 7. I think the Hungarian, maybe it's going to be one of them trips again. A whole bunch of stuff, and maybe I'll just enjoy it. Maybe I won't put any of it on tape. I don't know. We'll see. Listen to me on tape. Date yourself much? I really got into Tokarovs and Makarov pistols years ago. I collected European pistols from 1890s to modern years ago. I talked about this several times, maybe even last week. But the Makarov, for the money, where do you, not now money, but when they came in money, where do you find a steel handgun with that level of bluing, fit, finish, smoothness, everything for that? Where could it be made for that kind of money? Nowhere except a communist country where your labor is free and all your machinery is paid for. But East German Makarov, if you've never shot one, held one, felt one, racked one, and you see one in a local shop, ask to see it. You'll be amazed at just how lovely they are. Even a Bulgarian one for that matter. Just super nice stuff. They're great. The Tokarovs, the Romanian ones leave a bit to be desired, pretty rough, but there are some nice ones. Russian Tokarov, extremely nice. Chinese, pretty darn nice. Yeah. My first concealed carry was a Polish P64. I love the variants made by every nation. Yeah. The Polish variants, while sort of Makarovs, I think there's, what was it now? There was one that was none of them truly a Makarov. Close, very close. But I get what you're saying. Everybody considers them in that family. But yeah, they're neat. I would really like a Yugoslavian Tokarov. Nice guns, probably the best ones out there. Also, I wanted one, never bought it when they were literally $100. A Russian Nagant pistol. For those of you that haven't seen them, very unique cartridge. They seal, the shell casing seals the barrel between the along with the cylinder, seals everything up, and it's the bullet is pressed in all the way flat, basically. They're neat, and they've got the typical Russian rough wood grips that looks like the checkering was done with a hatchet or a hacksaw, maybe a dull one from several angles. And I just love them though with the lanyard loop and everything. They're cool looking. My father-in-law had one. Just bought it one day for kicks. Like, yeah, I don't see anything I really want to buy today. Here's $70. Take one home. I think he put 2 cylinders worth of ammo through it, and then he something like that. He'd usually say, "Hey, you want to buy this or here, take this," and he never did. I don't know why he got rid of it or what he did, but I would love to have one. And now they've crept to that point where I'd go, oh, I'd like one because it goes with the collection, but I just don't want to pay the whatever they are now, 300, $400, 500. I don't know. I don't see them being worth that kind of money. I should have bought one when they were 100, but I didn't. They are kind of I don't know, just not a great revolver. And the ammo is very specialized, so it's out there, but yeah, I don't know. I had an Nagant revolver years before the correct ammo was imported, so I shot 32 SW, 32 long, and 32 HR mag in them. Mine was a cool variation. It was a single action only. I think my father-in-law's was too. I don't remember now. I don't even know if I shot it. I may have. It's just interesting because they are so different. But yeah, interesting. Well, cool. Who would have expected John Crump to come in here and offer to do a live stream with me? Man, that is just outstanding. Anybody know where John's from? If you're still in here, where are you from? Are you a Michigan boy too? I don't know. Guess I never figured it out. Any new updates on the Sam 5 peening? Just what I had said earlier in the video. I went through it quite a bit. I don't want to bore people with it again, but we're going to shoot a little bit more, and then we're going to send it in. I am going to get the skinny from the Arsenal dude that reached out to me, and I'm going a different way with that rifle. I'm going to make it sort of one of my main rifles. I say tack it out. By that, I mean not just add a bunch of crap hanging off it, but I'm going to build the gun or accessorize the gun to fit me. And I think we'll do a 1x8 LPVO on it. And I think it'll be definitely one of the go-to rifles. Originally, I just was seeing it sort of as a range thing. I threw the Bakelite and the salmon stock on it and thought, oh man, that looks pretty cool, and it'll stay that way. And the more I thought about it, the more I think about 5.56, and it's viable. And we'll get a 1x8 on there and see if I can shoot that gun one MOA. Definitely, and I think it can. And I think after the fix, if that recoil's where it should be, man, that'll be a sweet, sweet gun. And unlimited ammo, right? So that'll be cool too. So that's where we're at. But well, don't worry, we'll be bringing you more, and we'll go from there. Gotta get some Uzi video going too, and maybe a little Korean Daewoo action. What do you think of that? Got one. I haven't shot it yet. Just a little pre-band gift box I came across, let's just say. Yep, all brand new in the box, tell you the truth. Hungarian, the Uzi, the Daewoo, all brand new in the box, unfired from the 80s. It was like a little Christmas present to me. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And if I told you what I paid for them, you guys would call me a liar and be extremely jealous. But yeah, anyhow. Man, those Daewoos were awesome. I wasn't even born when those disappeared. I avoided 5.56 AK variants for years, but with the steel case ammo prices now, I think I'm going to pick one up. So Essex and Orange, I did too. I avoided them. So I was just 7.62 39 guy. Period. End of story. Didn't want anything to do with 5.45 because 7 and 6 was gone, and while a great caliber, there was enough out there for me to collect where to start another caliber and the mags and the ammo and the this and the that. I just didn't want to do it. Plus, like most Americans, I consider 7.62 by 39 the quintessential AK caliber. If I wanted to shoot 223 pew pew, I would just pull out an AR. I mean, why bother, you know? So when I sensed and smelled the ammo thing happening, and there's a ton of guys in this chat right now, I'll tell you that I called it before anybody did. And the morning that came out, everyone went, "Oh my God, he did it again. He called it." I just felt it was coming, you know? And I would have never bought a 5.56 AK. Like, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. Why bother? But yet I thought, you know what? Love the platform. Love running the platform. If Steelcase is gone and that ammo shoots way up, that's when I got into reloading the 7.62 by 39 and figuring out a round for it, that a go-to round. I thought, well, you know what? 5.56 makes a whole lot more sense right now. Granted, I would have much rather run steel case through it because it bends the shit out of any brass you put through it and makes it unreloadable for the most part. You know, I'd rather run the steel case when it was dirt cheap. But with steel case being gone, 5.56, a lot cheaper than 7.62, right? And then when the SAM came out and there were good reports and you had Circle 10 mags, I went, and I knew the steel case was going away. I went, that looks a whole lot more appealing. So I grabbed one. And frankly, I'm not disappointed, you know. So what? They'll fix it and whatever, or I'll shoot it. You know, I hope that once I do what I'm going to do with it, and then they fix it, and it comes back that it's recoiling how I think it should, and that everything's done. I mean, but either way, I'd still shoot it. But yeah, it's grown on me, and I just like the idea of having a rifle that truly fits me, that I can run fast and do 5.56, because the AK platform without the recoil of the 7.62 by 39 is super appealing. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun with it. So we'll see. I think you guys will think the rifle's cool when I'm done with it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'll get you all the information I can. Yeah, Pioneer is one of those ones you want to stay away from. It's survived, but it really hasn't. I mean, I don't know anybody that's really buying them. I have never seen one in a brick and mortar gun shop, at least in my neck of the woods. And everybody pretty much knows, stay away from it. It's one of them. But again, I don't think they'll ever be a super huge player. Let's see. I just got a Pioneer 5.56 Forge Underfolder for $6.50, and it's a big fat lemon. Yeah, you bought the wrong gun, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not bashing on you. I'm sorry. I thought you were just gonna say something about them. I didn't realize you bought one, so I'm not banging on you. You just bad decision. It happens. We've all done it. We've all been there. Don't worry about it. try and pawn it off on a liberal and go buy a real gun. Geez, that came out sounding terrible. Um, they just have too many issues. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So um, watch some of my videos. Watch any of the AK guys that know stuff. And if you're looking for one gun, go buy a Zastava or buy a Wasser, Arsenal, Palmetto State, Kalashnikovs USA, any of those guns. I will suggest if it's your first one or maybe going to be your only one, get a import, meaning something that comes from a com block or ex-com block country like the Romanian Wasser, the Yugo ZPAP, the Arsenal, whether you want a milled gun or if you can find a stamped gun like an SLR 107 or something, that's a great rifle. I would buy the import first, because as we've learned so many times in the past, imports can be cut off at any time. If you can find yourself Sega or a Vepr, or a good old Chinese import on the secondary market or something like that, just an imported gun from a military manufacturer. Yeah, can't go wrong there. I'm sorry you got caught up in the Pioneer thing. For each of the, that's a big fat lemon. I get 2 mags in, and then the casings get stuck every other round. Took a chance on Pioneer, and I'm regretting it. Yeah, that's pretty much what we've heard from pretty much everybody on Pioneer. Go get the Polish guns. You could do one of the real Polish guns, not the Pioneer, and you do just fine. Whatever you like, but there's a ton out there. I don't know why Pioneer didn't pop to mind when I was talking about it earlier, but I didn't mean that as a shot. Please don't take it as such. I'm sorry to hear you got caught in that. We all do. I'm caught in it with the pistol I have right now. Should have known better, and I still did because I got caught up in, wow, look at that thing. It's badass, And I every time I take it to the range, it frustrates me. With that funky new Wasser gas block, I wish they would do a 5.56 rifle for a pretend 70. That's how I view them, kind of, right? A pretend 74. That's a cool way to put it. You don't mind if I steal that for a video, do you? That's awesome. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Essex, I avoided it like the plague too, but what are you going to do? Buddy of mine, Hobo Factory, has a 5.56 Pioneer, ran well. Then it started giving issues. Yeah. Yep. Just seems to be the case. It's a shame. If you got to stay cheap, grab yourself a Palmetto State. Can't go wrong. Good stuff there. What else you guys got? God, I can't believe Crumpy on here. That's awesome. I can't wait to get with him. Maybe that'd be cool to do me, Crump, and 2AEDU same time too, wouldn't it? What else? Yeah. I can't believe I haven't mentioned it before, but so I got a package of pre-banned guns. I had to take a couple that I didn't want. Kind of worthless to me. Sort of worthless to anyone, I think. But, when things are being packaged up, you sort of got to take the good with the bad. And we got that Kaznar Hungarian AK, new in the box, unfired. We got a Uzi, brand new in the box, unfired. And we got the Daewoo, brand new in the box, unfired. And then we got a, oh, what is it? It's called a Sovereign. And it's like, it's a 22 long rifle, um, mock PPSH. So think PPSH 22. That's what it is, with the shrouded barrel, wood stock. Looks just like a PPSH, but in 22. And it's even got a 50 round drum. Kind of cool. That one's kind of cool. And it's an early one. Like, I think Century had brought some in not all that long ago. And I think most of them were made by Pieta. I don't know if this one was. I think I may have seen that, but it was one of the early ones. Super nice walnut stock. Um, I have not, again, new in the box, unfired. And then we got a AK-47 pattern 22 long rifle. Although it's made to look like an AK-47 pattern rifle, it's really just it's made by Arms Corps, die-cast 22 receivers stuffed in a conglomeration of stock and plastic, and, well, no plastic, all metal on this one. 10 round mags that look like big mags. And it looks like an AK-47, but bigger, kind of. And it's a 22. I've seen videos on them, and they run like crazy. Brand new, unfired. But I have no use for the 22 stuff. Although the PPSH has sort of a lot of appeal to me with just his looks. And yeah, kind of a range toy. But once you run it a couple times, do a video, maybe, okay, cool. And time to get rid of it. So probably get rid of the 222s. And obviously we got it for the other three. So really, really cool. Really cool. And I probably got it all for the less than what the average single one goes for, like either the Daewoo, the Uzi, or the Hungarian. I got it all for less than what the cheapest one of those three go for. Ka-ching! In a big way. So that's a good thing. Oh, did I mention 3,000 rounds of ammo thrown in with it? Oh boy. Yep, definitely one of my better moves. So don't hate, man. You don't want to hate, you know. Just be happy for me. That's all. Anyhow, we got to bring you some of that, but it just ain't been warm enough. It's been terrible. And being what they are, it's almost like I don't want to take them out of the box and shoot them because they're so old and so nice and so brand new. Even the accessories are still in plastic, everything. But you know me, I don't have any safe queens. While I can admire them and enjoy them unfired, I gotta shoot it. I can't keep it not. What's the point to me? I'm not that guy. I mean, I could and have but I usually get two then, one to shoot, one to put away. Well, in this case, these are from the 80s, man. There ain't no getting two of them, not at the prices these things command. So yeah, it's going to be fun, and you guys will enjoy it. And I can do that first video unfired. Here we go. We're going to take off a few $1,000s worth of value, with one kaboom. But it'll be cool. It'll be cool, and you guys will really enjoy these. They're pristine examples of some pretty rare firearms and some super iconic firearms too. So it's just appealing all the way around. I'm happy for you, but I'm peanut butter and jealous. I get it. Trust me, I've watched that happen to buddies too and go, "Oh my god, how does this guy do this all the time?" Well, finally, I got a decent deal that fell my way. That's all. So, yeah, it will be fun. We've been on now 3 hours, 9 minutes, guys. I'm tired. One weekend, Vegas, get back, go to work for 4 days, and then it was off to Chattanooga. And then I finally got my motor home back after, I think, over 2 years now. And, oh my God, I got so much work to do to it. It's, yeah, you guys know me and how I am with stuff. I'm OCD, and what I have is like perfect. And that's how it was when I took it down there to help out my family. And it needs so much attention and so much work. A lot of stuff, just dirt and whatever, but a lot of stuff broken, a lot of stuff, yeah. So got to get it in shape, and it'll take me a month of weekends to even remotely get it back to where it was when I first took it down there. So, and a lot of money too. Yeah, that's going to cut into the gun funds quite a bit, because it's going to take a lot of money, a lot, like tens of thousands. But anyhow, is what it is, and you help out who you can help out, and everybody needs that sometime, and you just hope it comes back to you when you need it. That's all. 1312 not allowed at many ranges. Martin, that's the main functional difference. What is different if the 556 has got? Oh, okay. So 55 green tip, 556, better known as M855. That's the military designation. So green tip is a 62 grain, right? 62. Well, I reload so much, I do 68, 63s, 62s, 55s. 62 grain M855 green tip is a 62 grain projectile. And the green tip signifies that it has a steel penetrator in it. By steel penetrator, we're not talking about armor piercing, not it. It's just got a penetrator core in there, a little piece of steel. And it will do more damage than just a lead projectile. If you're shooting steel, for instance, it can pockmark it pretty good. It will go through some things that standard, let's say, M193 ammo will, which is just your 55 grain full metal jacket. Pretty hot though, military designation, but it's standard. The 855 is the green tip is standard military issue. Yeah, good ammo. Can't go wrong. A lot of ranges don't want you to shoot it indoors because they feel the steel penetrator could make a spark. And most indoor ranges, in case you didn't know, anytime you're shooting at a range pistol rifle, out the end of the barrel, along with the bullet, comes a bunch of debris, whether that's burnt powder or, in this case, unburnt powder. There's always some unburnt powder, and it sprays out and covers the floor, the walls, everything with this powder. If that range does not keep up with the cleaning and vacuuming, wiping down, getting rid of all that excess powder, should there be a spark, it could ignite. And there's been cases where that spark envelops the place in a big flame cloud, essentially. Could really hurt somebody or kill somebody. There has been, who was it? Let me think for a second. Military Arms Channel. They were shooting on his range, and I don't think they were shooting green tip. I think they were shooting steel case, or steel, I should say, a bimetallic projectile, meaning a block, probably Russian. I think it was 7.62 by 39 that they were shooting. And by bimetallic projectile, that means a lead projectile with a steel jacket over it, usually washed in copper. So you think it's a copper bullet just looking at it, but if you take a magnet, it's magnetic, and that jacket of the bullet is actually steel. And you say, well, wouldn't that ruin the barrel? Steel? Shouldn't it be copper? Well, it's a very mild steel, soft, and some say, oh, it'll wear out your barrel and this. Yeah, okay, whatever. But they were shooting that on their outdoor range. And all of a sudden, they look down and they see smoke and a fire downrange. And everything was dry. They wanted to put it out right away before it spread in the grass. What had happened was where their targets were placed, there were some stones, like field stone down there stacked up that had come out of the ground, heaved up over the winter or whatever, and they stacked them. Well, don't you know that bullet went down there, hit a rock, the steel casing threw a spark, and the grass in the field went up like crazy. By the time they got down there with something to put it out, it had burnt up a pretty good area. And that can happen at indoor range. So they're not talking, when they say no steel case allowed, that's what most ranges will say. They mistakenly use that term. What they should say is no bimetallic projectiles or steel jacketed bullets. In the case of M855 green tip, they're talking about the steel penetrator. They don't want it throwing a spark and igniting unburnt powder or whatever. It's usually indoor ranges, but some outdoor ranges do it because, well, a lot of times they're just uninformed, but other times it is they fear like a grass fire maybe or something, which rarely happens. I mean, like he said in his video, we've shot tens of thousands of rounds of this stuff outside, never remotely had anything happen, and I've done the same. I've seen sparks at night toward dusk, or at night when I'm shooting Russian steel case. Most steel cases bimetallic bullets. There are some that are copper plated, but I've seen plenty of sparks toward dusk and at night when you hit a steel plate and you see a big spark come off it. I've seen it shooting into sand and when it hits a rock or something. It happens, and it's a big spark. I could imagine if there was something that could flare up or flammable, that it could easily set something on fire. But it hasn't in tens of thousands of rounds that I've put downrange. I don't shoot it in indoor ranges. I can, other than years ago on the police force training, that kind of stuff, I don't shoot at indoor ranges. In the last 15 years, I think I've shot in an indoor range twice, both with friends who either shot at that range quite a bit or I was there visiting them and they wanted to go shooting and we went. I don't care for indoor ranges, don't like them, can't do much there, can't really train unless you had the whole range, and even then you're limited. I like outdoors. I don't really care about the weather. Yeah, you hear me talk about the weather this year. That's because it's been drawn out so long. But yeah, that being said, that's your long explanation on M855 green tip. So most guys shoot it. You'll even see guys 3-gun competitions and they're shooting that stuff, you know. Some people think it's armor piercing, all kinds of stuff, but just know it's standard issue military ammo with a steel penetrator in it. That's all. And a little more weight behind it by a few grains. Yeah, magnet. Well, 855. I've never personally put a magnet on it, but yeah, I believe it will stick to it. Russian ammo, bimetallic bullets. Yeah, magnet sticks no problem because it's the actual jacket. Yep. What else? I still like having green tip on hand, that's all as far as stockpiling, that's pretty much all I stockpile. As far as factory ammo, but the bulk of my stuff I stockpile is my own reloads, majority of which is 68 grain and 75 grain. That stuff hits hard in a boat tail hollow point. And that stuff hits super hard, is super accurate. And yeah, I like my loads. And I'll put them up there for reliability against any factory ammo. Anyhow, that's about it. I hope I helped you there. That's about it, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed tonight. I am super pumped about Crumpy. That will be cool. And I can't wait to get out and go shooting tomorrow. And I can't wait to get my chickens outside finally in their coop. Can't wait to bring you some of these videos on these rifles. And thank you all so much for coming in here. I hope you take heed on my advice to get involved. GOA, Gun Owners of America, great organization to belong to. Make sure you try and help them out. Make sure you help spread the news. Help to inform people that aren't. You'll be shocked at how many people you think probably know about the fight we got going on here over the Second Amendment and different bans and this and that. But even those you would think are informed are not. So make sure you spread it. Don't be afraid to spread it. Take somebody new to the sport shooting with you. Be safe. Follow all the safety precautions. Teach them all of that before you even get to the range. And get somebody out there. The more people we get involved, the more people that are out there doing it, the more people that understand that a firearm is not some scary thing. It's something to be respected. It's something to enjoy and to gain satisfaction from competition against others, yourself. And it's something that everyone should know how to run well, protect themselves, and if need be, protect their country from enemies, both foreign and domestic, and to protect the Second Amendment, which was what protects every other amendment. That being said, guys, thanks again. Thanks for everything. Don't forget us in the super chat. If you can afford to give to the channel, we would certainly appreciate it. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate you putting up with this dumb old channel. And I still can't believe that someone like John Crump wants to do a video. That's so cool. And I hope you guys can't wait to see that too. Check out his channel. Check out 2AEDU's channel. He's got a great channel. Check out Joe's channel. There's another guy comes in here. Oh God, what's his name? The reviews. I'm having a brain fart. Anyways, look up in the comments. You'll see it. Rabbit Hole Review. Good channel. Yeah, there's some good people out there, man. Get involved. Start a channel. Anyways, have a good evening. Watch for that next video, and we'll see you soon in a video or live stream next Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central Time. Coffee and Kalashnikovs. Bring your coffee, bring your adult beverage, bring your peach Red Bull, and until then, Rockford Ordnance out. Good night.